for their help and assistance in making the band a consistent success. The Broncos Marching Band's next competitions will be competing at Lee Summit High School for German at the Summit tomorrow, September 13th at 1:40 p.m. and the Golden Regiment Invitational at Blue Springs High School on September 28th.
And good evening, football fans, and welcome. Welcome back to another episode of Friday Night Football in the Heartland on your home for high school sports in the Heartland, 810varsity.com. Yes, we are back again. We're bringing you the flavor and got it going on again for the first time in a long time. There's going to be music tonight. There might be a little dancing. Tonight's matchup between two of the strongest programs anywhere in the Heartland is sure to rock you right. All right, as my good friend and partner, David Trimble, gives me that side eye, and I'm with the Backstreet Boys, even if you tell me, David, that you want it that way. Well, the Mill Valley Jaguars, right on cue, coming into tonight's contest and onto the field, sporting a perfect record in 2025. After dispatching Olathe East last week in convincing fashion, the 28-0 win by the Jaguars puts future foes on notice that the Land Shark defense is again alive and well. But will that defensive play work here tonight at Lee's-Summit North? Well, if you ask the Broncos, they'll probably tell you it doesn't matter who's up next on their schedule, because they've already notched 2 wins on the year. A week 1 11-point victory is always tough against a really salty Rapec team. And then last Friday, a win over Coach Drew Hudgens and the Staley squad, 45-21. Both teams are going to rely on a run-heavy offense, but based on last week's game with Staley, well, the Broncos have shown they have zero issue dropping back and letting her rip. With some of the top playmaking talent across any roster in the Heartland, Lee's-Summit North is always just one step away from 5. Can Mill Valley's defense be the fire extinguisher tonight? Well, Mill Valley's defense this year might not have the names of years gone by. Names like Roth, Jigan, Woods come to mind. But last week's shutout demonstrates they can still get it done. Offensively, Mill Valley rides the railroad, the locomotive, the crazy leg, the double R Reggie Reese, one of the top running back recruits in the Midwest. Reese is the bell cow for the Jaguars. Tonight, Mill Valley hopes the Bronco Buster is in the form of Reggie Reese, because last year against Lee's-Summit North, Reese went off for over 200 yards on the ground. Mill Valley is 1-0, Lee's-Summit North is 2-0, but you know what? Those records do not matter at all, because beyond notching another win in the win column tonight, the victor will also take something perhaps even more valuable: bragging rights. Right now, the Broncos have those rights after going to Shawnee, Kansas 364 days ago, and earning a 26-13 win. Who wins tonight? A fight between a Jaguar and a Bronco. Friends, I have no idea, but I do have some good news for you. We're going to find out tonight, because you're going to have a seat at the 50-yard line all night long, because we're live from Lee's-Summit North High School in beautiful Lee's-Summit, Missouri. Jags and the Broncos. Kickoff is next on your home for high school sports, 810varsity.com.
The Jaguars are coached by Brian and captains for your Broncos. Coach number 0, Josiah Robinson. Number 4, William Ray. Number 6, Jaden Hines. And number 52, Barrett Lawless. The Broncos are coached by Ron Washington. Officials for this evening's game are referee Curtis Williams, umpire Tim Hopkins, line judge Roger Emmett, linesman Cody Myers, and back judge Jeremy Bones.
Standing in midfield are captains from both the Jaguars and the Broncos squads, respectively. After the requisite introductions, handshakes, we're going to see a coin flip. Both coaches standing there on the left side of the Bronco head. We are looking out across beautiful Lee's-Summit, Missouri. We are looking east, high atop the press box here. Beautiful press box that it is. Big shout out to everybody here at Lee's-Summit North for making us feel at home as long as we've been here over the past couple of days. Now, I'm not sure what the official attendance is going to be here tonight, David Trimble, but I know that we're going to be well into four figures.
The student section is definitely making themselves heard. It looks like they might have a theme night, a whiteout, if you will, because all the student sections are very loud, and they're all dressed in white.
Dressed in white for an evening delight. We're about 27 seconds away from getting things underway here officially at Broncos Stadium at Lee Summit North High School. Glad you're joining us on this beautiful Friday evening on a10varsity.com. Sean Brewer here with David Trimble and a whole cadre of Cracker Jack staff. We have Crystal Babb up here. We have the one and only Hayden Kilo. Going to bring him at halftime for Hayden's huddle. Kind of a recap of the first half and his thoughts on what it's going to look like in the second half of this contest. Well, Mill Valley they're facing to the north. David Trimble, who won that toss? I'm way up here. I don't have my binoculars out yet.
Unfortunately, Sean, I did not see.
Well, you have to open your eyes, my man.
I was not told that was contingent on my cooperation.
Well, here we are, and all across the field on the far side, the Jaguars are starting to do the little bunny hop as they walk back to the sidelines. And on the near sideline, the Broncos wearing their not customary, their gray uniforms with the red trim. Mill Valley, and they're all whites, blue lettering. And to start things off, Mill Valley is going to be defending the south end zone. No indication quite yet on who won the toss. I'd say we have a 50-50 shot at getting to David Trimble. I'm going to say that Lee Summit North won the toss.
50% of the time works every time.
There you go. Starters for Lee Summit North. On offense, he goes Stephen Thomas, Justin Lindsay, Bryce Thompson, William Ray, Brady Sibbing, Aaron McIntosh, Jackson Samuel, Marcel Reed, Ace Herman, Barrett Lawless, Hunter Hansen. On defense, Caleb Green, who comes in leading with 21 tackles, 3 for loss. Jaden Hines, Bryce Davis, Josiah Robinson, Nolan Spinks, Jackson Ross, Logan Mayfield, Marcel Reed playing both ways. Nas Palmer, Lavelle Thornton, and Mikhail Forbes. And friends, we're a second away from being underway here. Kansas versus Missouri, 2 of the top 10 teams in the A10 varsity. Top 25 poll across all throughout Kansas City, surrounding areas. Fielded by Mill Valley around the 21-yard line. He's able to get it forward and out to around the 26-yard line, where Mill Valley's going to have it 1st and 10 in their own territory. David Trimble.
And that wasn't necessarily what you would say was the typical open field tackle, but I mean he was trying to make the dodge, and they got the tackle to save. It looked like to me another at least 7, maybe even out to the 40.
Bryce Shorten, the 6'1", 176-pound wide receiver, on the return. And here comes the Mill Valley offense. Mentioned in the pregame, behind number 25, the Railroad, the Crazy Leg, the Locomotive, Reggie Reese. Some would say the top running back in the city. Had 200 yards against these Broncos last week, and uncharacteristically, Mill Valley comes out with a pass on their first play from scrimmage. And it's Blake Jay wearing the number 1. Bryce Shorten getting all the work. In fact, he's the only Jaguar that's touched the ball on each of the 2 plays that they've had. One on a return, and that time on a reception. It's going to set up 2nd and around 7 to go. All right, call it 6 from around the 24. Again, that's going to be a keeper. A little read option by Jay, and he's going to fall forward for the first down, move the chains out to the 41-yard line. Mill Valley offensive line, especially on the right side, getting a good early push against this vaunted defensive line of Lee Summit North, David.
And that was set up perfectly by that, slightly uncharacteristic first pass. They got, the 5, or what do we say? It ended up 4 yards.
Right.
But that opens up a lot more options for your second down.
1st and 10 from the 41. Jaguars driving. Blake Jay looks over the defense. Single receiver to the top, one to the bottom. Reese in motion, going to go right back out, this time to the big tight end. He gets it across midfield and into Bronco territory. That is number 88, Stone Zambo, one of the top tight end recruits in the Midwest, and he's only a junior, but they're going to make use of that big 6'3", 203-pound frame. We're going to see a lot of action. He can get it with his hands and his arms out in the receiver position, but they're also going to line him up kind of in that traditional fullback position as well from time to time.
And part of the all-name team as well.
Stone Zambo.
Yeah.
You know, we've got an ace that we're going to talk about tonight, but right now I was Stone Zambo. And again, how about this? A little RPO by Hayden, or excuse me, yeah, that was.
Don't call him Blake.
You know what? I was just about to, and I might as well just call it out right now to the J family, Mr. J, and of course the Blake and Hayden. You know, when you get to be my age, sneak it up on 80 years here pretty soon, 40, something like that. 2nd and 6 from the 44-yard line of the Broncos. Jay again looks over the defense, pushes, and that's going to be an easy 5 yards for the Jaguars. Saw that with Staley last week watching their film. They were able to get that over-aggressive sometimes defensive line from the Broncos to get in that zone where they should not be, earning the other team a 5-yard penalty bonus. Jaguars take yards any way they can get them on defense. That front 2 or 3, Marcel Reed, he's going to play both ways. Watch number 71, and he's going to be a treat to watch. And yes, I understand the red numbers on the gray makes it a little bit hard to see them, but we will effort to do our very best for the Bronco Nation. 2nd and a short one. Jay going to keep it himself again. Little read option down the left side. He's got room if he can stay in. He almost got a horse collar, but a good job laying off of that horse collar was Caleb Green, or excuse me, that's William Ray, the big 6'2", 250-pounder for the Broncos.
And he was out there showing his speed for a 250-pounder.
That's not too
Yeah, I mean, because Mr. J is not a slow individual, and he was able to keep up with him and get him out of bounds.
So far now, the 6th play of this drive, the Jaguars again for the 2nd time this drive, and they saw it on tape just like I did this past week, and they make it look pretty easy, and that's going to be a coachable moment for Coach Duran. But like they say, if they're going to give it to you, keep taking it until they take it away.
And that brings them up to a 1st and 5 from the 23. See what they can come up with on this one.
12 personnel, got 2 tight ends. There's Reggie Reese trying to get around the corner to the outside. He cuts it back in. He's able to push his way, muscle his way inside the 20-yard line. He's going to be right at that 1st down marker. We'll see what the spot looks like, and he might be just shy. Now, are they saying move him? We'll see.
And Mill Valley looking to go quickly here. Gives it right back to him, and he is picking up that 1st down and more, trying to push the pile.
What a great job there on this time on the left side of that line for Mill Valley behind big number 74. That's LaMarcus Barber. All 311 pounds of that young man. Marcus Barber is going to be extending his playing time down in Manhattan, Kansas, be part of the K-State football squad, one of many Mill Valley Jaguars to either be headed there or currently on the roster. And again, how about that for the 3rd time this drive? Now that's going to do a couple of things. The amount of frustration as we see that young man coming off and onto the field right now, that's going to be number 15, Michael Forbes, my man. And Michael Forbes, he is only a freshman, but you look at him, he's 6 foot, 200 pounds.
And that's great for development-wise. You know, if they can get them in early in the season against a really good team, get him some reps, he's just going to get better.
1st and 5 from inside the 10. They can get a 1st down should they need it, but right now the arrow is certainly pointing up and green for Mill Valley. And gets him down to the 1-yard line, maybe 1.5, and Mill Valley is going to have to try again to punch it in, but they're going to have 4 downs to do it. And so far, Mill Valley's getting it done through the air and on the ground. Another kind of a hurry-up offense look. Going to go with a 2 tight end set. Reggie Reese back into the left of Jay. Single receivers to the top and bottom. Jay's going to hand it off to the locomotive, and he's at the goal line. They're going to say that he's just shy of that goal line. That's going to bring up second and just a skosh. What is more, David, a skosh or a skish?
Skosh is slightly smaller than a skish.
Fair enough. So I would say that we're right around a skosh. But the offensive line for Mill Valley is absolutely pushing around that Bronco front four. And now I wouldn't be fair to say, Marcel Reed, you're not going to push him around. But they're doing a great job at containing him. Now Reese to the left, gets the handoff, plows through, and he's into the end zone. Touchdown, Mill Valley. Touchdown, Reggie Reese.
And he was doing a little bit of pinballing around there. He was bouncing and rolling, but he was able to find pay dirt.
He just runs angry. Kind of like me at the buffet. Get out of my way. Let me get to those taters. But very impressive drive to start things out for Mill Valley. I have an opportunity here in a few minutes to see the Bronco offense try to match these Jaguars. And I'm sure the staff for Lee Summit North will make the proper adjustments and they bring their crew over to the sideline, and it's already happening, folks. We can hear it from all the way up here. That kick is up by Mason Gallander, up and through. Makes it a 7-0 game. 7:22 left in quarter number 1. We are live from the Lee Summit North on 810varsity.com. We'll be right back. Jaguars, 7:22 left in quarter number 1. We're moments away from kickoff for the second time tonight, but the first for Mill Valley. Impressive drive. Only one pass, the rest they got it done. In fact, it was the first pass of the game for Mill Valley. It's the only one they've attempted. There's Gallander's kickoff, going to be taken around the 10-yard line. Out he comes to the 20, 25. He's got a lot of room, and he's only got one man to beat, and he just beat him. Touchdown, Broncos! Josiah Robinson takes it to the house.
Well, you were wondering if they could answer. Yes, they can, and they will do it quickly.
That's sort of like a punch in the mouth. But that young man had a lot of room on the right side. His upfield blockers did a fantastic job of clearing the way.
Clearing the way and not holding.
Right.
When
great point. That's a great point.
When they see him coming like that, they get excited. I want to make sure that this guy does not get around me. And then they'll hold, but there were no holds. And that was 6 in the end zone.
And a play like that is exactly what this defense of the Broncos needs, to inject a little bit of momentum into them as they come out here within the next couple of minutes. Pinning the extra point, About to have a tie ball game, 7:08. Left to go in the first. Carson Sokin. So your holder, the kick is up, but the kick is not through. So let me back up there a little bit. We're not about to have a tie game. It is Jaguars 7, Broncos 6, and in a game like this, a game of inches, and a game of points, it could certainly come down to that mixed extra points for the later stages of this contest. 7:08, quarter one. We'll be right back. Jaguars by 1.
Does it roll? Does it swing? Does it have a busted spring? If you call Door Systems, we have everything. That's 524-8535. Ask for me, Dory. That'll get you 10% off, you know. Hey, I'm no ding-dong. Call us. Don't forget the 816, silly. Ask for me, Dory.
And welcome back as we hear Metallica playing in the background, Enter Sandman. Well, I guarantee if you've been watching from the jump here on A10 Varsity, you certainly have no reason to go take a nap and to fall asleep because there's been nothing but fireworks and action-packed. Following the Jaguars' 10-play drive to start things off to take a 7-0 lead, the Broncos just answered in a resounding way, running it back nearly 90 yards. And now Mill Valley on their return, roughly the same result as the last time that they fielded a kick out to the 26 where they're going to have it 1st and 10.
And the only problem with that run back, if you can necessarily call it a problem, is you didn't give your defense a lot of time to rest. They just had a pretty good little time out there with Mill Valley on their first offensive possession. And now they're out there for their second, but it's early in the game. I'm sure they're well rested.
I don't think we call it a run back. It was kind of a runaway because he just absolutely left everybody in his dust. Then Mr. Robinson. Hello, Mr. Robinson. And hello, Mr. J in the Jaguar offense. We'll see how the Broncos can respond. Little handoff. I beg your pardon. Jay again. He's so quick to read that first linebacker. Where's he going to go? Is he going to follow Reggie Reese? Are they spying him? And as soon as he does move over, Jay says, hey, that's my green light, and away he goes.
And the vision, the field awareness, to steal a term from basketball, the court awareness, the field awareness, and just the quick mental capacity to be able to notice even just the smallest of flinch of him going the other way.
A battle right there between Marcel Reed and Fitzpatrick. Going to be one to watch all night. And a completion again, this time around the 42-yard line. Gets his way and kind of his momentum carries him forward to the 47-yard line. Another first down for the Jaguars. And talk about firing on all 12, or 11 if you will, cylinders. The Jaguars are rolling.
And they are looking to roll quickly, getting up there, and they had to wait on the chains to get it, and that might not have worked out too well for him.
I see the white hat on the far side. I don't know whether it was a timeout. I see Coach Joe Appleby around midfield. He wants to have a word with one of the officials. Looking for a little explanation. He's doing it the right way. Always does a great job. He's not the type that's going to get in the face of an umpire or referee and try to have some not so pleasant words. He does it the right way, asking for a little clarification. He's one of the most respected coaches in the city. Here's Jay again, waiting for the snap. 2 tight end look. 5.5 to play in quarter number 1. Jaguars up by 7. Reese now to the right. Jay, he's going to drop back, and he's got a lot of time. Take advantage of that pressure. Got 3 linemen chasing him down. He tried to kind of dink it right over him. He was able to do so. Only resulted in a couple of yards.
And I am going to have to correct you there. You said Jaguars up by 7. They are up by 1 with 7 points.
Up by 1, up by 7. Does it really matter in sports?
It's a game of inches, Sean. Whoever has the most points at the end of the game is the winner.
220, 221, whatever it takes.
Exactly. Now that was great concentration. That ball was tipped at the line of scrimmage, and he was able to keep his eyes on it and pull it down to get them back a little bit closer to the original line of scrimmage.
3rd and long. I anticipate kind of a hard snap here. No, not so fast. There's Jay. He's being pressured. He's either going to have to let it go, and he does. He's got Stone Zambo. First down, Jaguars. The far sideline, 32-yard line of the Broncos. That's Stone Zambo. Making it look easy. He's got those big hands. He just put them up there in the air, and it's sort of like those sticky Jerry Rice gloves. Grabs it in midair, pulls it down, and out comes a first down for Mill Valley.
And Jay was running from his life, took a pretty good hit as he was throwing that, but he did not hear the proverbial footsteps behind him and make an errant pass. He put that one right on the money.
Bryce Shorn at the bottom of your field. Holden Appleby at the top. Little handoff going to the train. And he falls down, gets about half of what he needs, down around the 26-yard line. You know, we need to establish early this season, is he the train? Is he the locomotive? The railroad? I don't know.
For ease of speaking and everything, train. It's nice, it's short. Locomotive, we got to talk about syllables.
Fair enough. 2nd and 6. Halfway through, a little bit more than halfway through in quarter one. Jay looks to the sideline. Got 3 coaches on that far side. Signaling in the play. Snap coming in, another read option, a pitch to Reggie Reese, and he's going to be just a little bit short. Anticipate kind of a hurry up here by Mill Valley. Like they did the last drive, but they're in no big hurry right now with 3:33 left in the first. Bryce Shorten going to line up in the slot. You see him there, number 13. He has a battle on his hands tonight. Right now, Jackson Ross is lined up with him, and they've been doing an awful lot of hand fighting. Going to be fun to watch that all night. 3rd and 2, he's going to keep it himself. Why wouldn't he? He's been successful so far. He's going to be right at the marker, and I think the near judge has him marked down just a little bit shy. Now they're going to say, well, I correct myself. It is going to be 4th down. Now, presumably, Mill Valley's just going to go student body left or right. A big push forward. And if you got somebody 311 pounds on the left side, might kind of make sense to follow LaMarcus Barber. Or going right underneath, trying to draw him off sides. Smart play by Mr. J. Still plenty of time, 10-9 on the play clock. Steps back, Reese to his left. Tries another hard count, and Coach Appleby says, well, went back to the well one too many times, and that's going to fire him up on the near sideline. The coaches are more excited on that last play than I think I've seen them all night besides that run back. David Trimble, you see him down there. They're just holding their breath, hoping that those linemen don't jump.
Right, and you can't help but show your excitement because that shows that your players are settling in a little bit, not nervous. They are listening to what you say. I'm sure he said some colorful words that meant
Colorful.
Don't jump.
Yeah.
Don't jump off sides in any way, shape, or form. So, yeah, he was absolutely, actually all of them were absolutely fired up with that one, thinking that, they held Mill Valley on 4th down, thinking that when they come out of that timeout, they've got to know what they're doing, and they're going to do exactly what you said with that run play, bringing out the whole student body to pick up that, looks like right out of yard.
4th and 1 from the 22-yard line of the Broncos. Jaguar offense trots out. Michael Fitzpatrick over center. Flanked by Tommy Hopkins and LaMarcus Barber, right and left respectively. Jay out of the pistol. He's just going to take it, tuck it, and run and get the first down inside the 20. That is Blake Jay. Another first down for the 6', 175-pound senior. Multi-sports standout. The younger brother of, I don't even want to say
Hayden. Blake.
Exactly right.
We got to switch it.
1st and 10. Jaguars looking for more. Handing it off. to Reese. He's inside the 15.
And I definitely feel you on not even wanting to say that name. Don't even get it in your head.
Don't even want to get it.
Because because you said that name for 4 years.
But here's the deal. Who's our number one cameraman? That's Hayden Keeler over here to our right.
Hey, Keeler.
All right, now it's Blake Jay and his Jaguars, leading him down the field for the second time in their second drive. They're up by 1, 7-6. Final stages of the first quarter. And he tucks it back in. He had Zamba wide open. And despite those what appear to be about 6-foot arms, Zamba was about 6 inches too short from being able to snag that one, bring it in for another 6.
And yeah, that was super close. He had the route, and he was just a little out in front of that one. I mean, come on, Zambo. You got to run a little bit faster than that. That's all it is.
Yeah, Naz Palmer. I think that's, and again, folks, you know, these red letters, I have a hard enough time with numbers and letters in general, but especially seeing the red on the gray makes a little bit of a challenge. So far, the Jaguar offense haven't had much of a challenge yet, but here's Jay scrambling to his right. He's in trouble. He finds the receiver, and that's Zambo. He's going right back to the big fella. And Zambo falls forward. He's going to only be about 1.5 yards shy of a first down. They're going to mark him at the 11 to 11.5 yard line.
But you've got to credit Lee Summit North secondary on that one. They had 2 receivers, did Mill Valley, running across, and they were right there with him, stuck on him like glue. Didn't give Jay anybody to throw to, so he had to go down to about his 3rd, 4th option, I think.
Jairee McDaniel, he's the big number 50, the senior lineman there, kind of lining up, and he's lining up a lot of times just, you know, helmet on helmet to Michael Fitzpatrick, and then he does shift over to Tommy Hopkins. But he has been able to get just a little bit of a push on that last series, it looked like. Now somehow.
Personal foul.
Okay, I was going to say we just missed a call, and it is a personal foul.
Personal foul indeed. Partner, I didn't see that. A little extracurriculars after the play. Unfortunate to see that. But a good job by the officials to get it under control before it gets out of hand. 1st and goal, Mill Valley from the 5 yard line. Jay, low snap, he hands it off to Reese. If he can get the corner, he's got it. Somehow he's trying to pull himself out. But guess what? A try of Broncos. That was Jaden Hines in there as well. So he pops up off the ground. I believe number 4 was in there as well, and that is Caleb Green or William Ray. Both of those, think about it, they're both going to play tonight. William Ray, 6'2", 215-pound senior, and Caleb Green, 6'1", 210-pound junior. 2nd and 8. Mill Valley taking their time. 8-7 on the play clock. To the left is Reese. Jay waits for the snap again. He's going to keep it himself. He cuts it back. He zigs when he should have zags, and he's not going to get there. In fact, he probably lost a yard or two, David.
It does look like he lost a yard, and this Lee Summit North defense is putting up an iron wall, and that is going to bring us to the end of the first quarter. They're going to swap ends of the field, and we're going to see if Mill Valley can punch it in or if Lee Summit North can stalemate them to stay down just 1.
We'll be right back live from Lee Summit North on A10Varsity.com. Start of quarter number 2 at Lisa North High School. The Jaguars up by 1, looking for more. They've driven it down behind 13 plays on this drive. They've got it all the way down inside the 10. They're facing 3rd and goal from the, call it about the 7.5, 8 yard line. Presumably 4 down territory, but they may not need it. Can the Bronco defense steal itself just enough to keep the Jaguars out of that red Bronco end zone on the south side of the field here at Lisa North? We're about to find out. Jay waits for the white hat to give him the signal. And I think Coach Washington here on the near side looking for a little clarification. Might be kind of taking issue with where they are. No, not sure what he was objecting to, quite frankly. But here we are again. 3rd and 7. First play, quarter number 2, play number 14 of the drive. Jay rolls out to his right, reverses field. He's got Reese wide open. Reese going to block for him. Reese going to let him go into the end zone, and another flag and a personal foul for the 2nd time on this series. And we're going to have multiple flags come out here, and that is just an absolute unfortunate thing to see in a high school football game. I'm not going to talk about it in length here, but sometimes people have to be just a little bit better. Frustration certainly going to be high on a play like that, but you have to keep your composure.
And we have seen the touchdown symbol, so the touchdown is good. We have not seen.
We'll wait for the call here, but at least from my vantage point, and way up here, how many yards away are we? At least, 150? This is a beautiful press box, by the way. Shout out to Mike McGurk. Does a fantastic job as athletic director here at Lisa North High. I think we might have offsetting penalties. I cannot, for the life of me, I'm going to have to get out the binoculars, see what that call is. Did you see that, Dave?
He didn't make any signals. He just.
Trying to watch it on replay here. Like he's trying to communicate, perhaps. I mean, it wouldn't be the clock because we're just underway here in the 2nd quarter. Play clock wasn't an issue. There's Coach Appleby around the 20-yard line. Going to come and visit with the white hat just a little bit, looking for a little clarification. Still no change on the scoreboard. Jaguars did behind Blake Jay. He's running like one of those little wind-up toys that you had when you were a kid. You wind them up and you set them down and they run in circles, sometimes a straight line, sometimes they come back. That's exactly what Blake Jay almost got me. Well, after all that, we're going to do it again. After offsetting penalties, 3rd and 7. Start of the 2nd quarter, and the ball's on the turf. And it's going back the other way. Lee's Summit North. You know what they do, David Trimble? They make plays. Big plays. Touchdown, Broncos.
And the special teams squad, they are definitely not going to have to do any running or stairs or anything like that.
And you know who scored that touchdown? He's got 2 on the night. Can you believe that? Josiah Robinson picks up the leather off the turf, and he scrambles 93 yards just like he did about 10 minutes ago when he ran the first touchdown for the Broncos back. Now, can the Broncos convert this PAT, or are they going to go for 2? Kicker is on the field, and the coaching staff is fired up. Not exactly sure what he's doing there. Oh, he's looking for one more player. He's saying, hey, kick team, where are you fellas? Oh, they're missing 2. They're missing 1. I think number 33 is probably going to hear about that in film. Kick is up. It's through the yellows. It's good. Make it 13. Favor of the Broncos to 7 for the Jags. 11.5 to play in quarter 2. We'll be right back live from Lisa North on A10varsity.com.
Look at you go. the one-trip grocery champ, snooze button resistor, master sock matcher. We know the daily grind can be tough, but amidst the hustle, we see you conquer it all. And at Scooters Coffee, we believe it's the little wins that deserve some big moments of joy. So go on, embrace that tiny triumph. You master parallel parker you. Take that victory lap and savor the sweet taste of success. Scooters Coffee, you didn't just order it, you earned it.
And just like that, Lee Summit North is back, or is on top, 13-7 after the 97, I think it was officially 97-yard scoop and score.
David Trimble, would you believe that there have been 26 plays by both teams together in this contest? Would that sound about right to you?
Yes, at one time, Wilt Chamberlain and I played basketball, and between the two of us, we had 100 points.
Between the two. Oh, that one night in March, right? Well, out of the 26 plays between these two teams, the only team to run an offensive play tonight, the Jaguars of Mill Valley. The total number of offensive plays by Lee Summit North is as many times as I have been asked to broadcast the Indianapolis 500, which has been
0 times?
0 times.
And
there it is.
That's what I was saying is the special teams crew, they are not going to have to do the stairs. They're not going to have to do sprints. They're not going to have to do anything. They are doing their job, and they're doing it well.
And we have yet to see the quarterback, Stephen Thomas, and the rest of his offensive teammates for the Broncos tonight. And we're 11.5 in to the second quarter. Back at it again is Mill Valley. Now there's Max Piva. He is spelling Reggie Reese. Usually don't see that quite so early, but at the same time, running that many plays, you got to keep your bell cow healthy. You can only feed him so much. They keep telling you at the buffet, David Trimble.
You know what? I paid for it. I'm going to have it. I've been there 4 hours. It's time for me to go now. I don't think so.
The bottom of your screen, number 22, Ryan Helm, backup running back, lined up wide. But it's going to go right back to Piva. A little bit different look. More of just he's a fast runner. He has the ability to cut, and I think the coaching staff looking for a flag. And that's a tough, and certainly appreciate where they're coming from. That's a tough place to call anything and to throw a flag.
There was a lot going on. Lee Summit North came up saying that they had the ball. There was a Mill Valley Jaguar player down on the ground. Looks like he was able to get up just fine. And then after all that, it's first down Mill Valley.
From the 27-yard line of Mill Valley. Now make that around the 29-yard line.
I'm going to go ahead and say that is straight up the 30-yard line, Sean.
Right up on the 30. Pass play, looking across. He's going to keep it and try to get a couple of yards. He gets back to the line of scrimmage, maybe one extra, but nothing more. And this Bronco defense for the last two series, and they've, look, we talk about Mill Valley being out on the field quite a bit. Well, Lee Summit North and their defense, hey, this just in, they've been on the field the same number of plays as the Mill Valley offense.
That is how that works. The offense is on one side and then the defense is on the other. But so they are showing no signs in the secondary of losing any speed. They were right there, pace for pace.
Watching number 6, Jaden Hines. There's some guys that just have a nose for the football. Almost every play you see number 6 in there. Finishing up the tackle, or one of the first on the scene. Right in the middle, Marcel Reed and Jairi McDaniel said not so fast. My friend from Shawnee pushes him back. And now Mill Valley going to face around a 3rd and 10.5, 11 yards. And that's going to bring the the students down in front of us out of their seats, onto their feet. 2 tight end look, 2 receivers to the top of your screen. Pivot to the left of Jay. He left. Jay's going to try to keep it, cut it back. He's getting about half of what he needs and a little bit more. Going to bring up an interesting call. I'd say he's about, 2.5 to 3 yards short. It's going to bring up 4th and 4. Coach Appleby saying, all right, at least we're going to line up. Whether or not they try to get, and that's probably, we got an injured Bronco right around the 46-yard line.
And I'm sure Coach Appleby is obviously not glad or anything that there is an injured Bronco, but he is appreciating the
little extra time.
Almost an extra time out here, depending how things go, to come up with something on this big 4th down, arguably the biggest 4th down of the game so far.
And it's 7:45 in the evening as it stands right now, partner. It's still 88 degrees, and looks like they're trying to stretch him out down on the field, so some cramping potentially going on. And I think as we spoke earlier, they haven't had a rest all night. On every play from scrimmage tonight, that Bronco defense has been on the field. If you're just joining us, you think, well, how is that possible? And the Broncos are still up 13-7. Well, a little quick maths. Both touchdowns coming from number 0, Josiah Robinson, one on a kickoff return following the first score of the game by Mill Valley. And then as Mill Valley was driving in their 15th play of that drive, the ball hit the turf. Josiah Robinson scooped, and he did score. 4th and 3, Mill Valley trying to go with the hard count again. Coach Washington, I'm sure they probably said something in that last break about, hey, watch the ball. Don't listen to the quarterback. Watch the ball. But he saw something, did Coach Duran, that he did not like. Going to have a little break in the action.
And I'm not sure if he was expecting Mill Valley to just be going full-on run, get Reggie Reese back in there, and try and pick up this 1st down. But there were receivers top and bottom of the screen. I don't know if he didn't have the right defense dialed up, but decided to, with 8:51, can't take him with him, so went ahead and called the timeout.
This big jumbotron on the south end of Bronco Stadium here certainly is impressive. I don't know what kind of clarity that is or how much money went into that thing, but I tell you, it's crystal clear from up here. Students now back on the feet. David, I got to think there's at least 400 kids down there.
Every bit of 400, and they are making themselves known.
4th and 3 for Mill Valley. Here's Jay standing on his own 32-yard line. Trying to go for the quick 5-yard hard count snap, and he's going to go back up and pooch it. And Lee Summit North, once again, stopping Mill Valley. Coach Washington saying, hey, he wants the punt block on, and why wouldn't you at least try? He's coming in, and right there along the edge, but couldn't get there quite in time. And that's going to be fielded by Bryce Shorten down inside Mill Valley territory. 1st and 10, and guess what? Now, I don't know that I've ever been a part of a football game, partner, with 8:44 left in the 2nd quarter. And we are seeing the offense for one of the teams for the very first time.
That would definitely be very interesting, on the national broadcast when they introduce them to be doing the introductions of the offensive squad with 8:44
right
in the 2nd quarter.
Stephen Thomas, Abraham Lincoln High School, or middle school. 1st and 10 for the Broncos. Speaking of Mr. Thomas, he was doing a little read option, and back in there to greet him, Mr. Engelhardt. Not sure what they're all excited about. Oh, it is homecoming night, so they're Certainly having a lot of fun down here in front of us. Probably not as much fun as we're having watching these two teams.
Well, and I think the Jaguars might be excited because that's the first time that the defense has been on the field, and they were able to get them with a stop of 4 yards.
Easton Englehart makes the stop, lining up against Hayden with Hayden Heller there on the front 4, and a quick out to the far side. Gets about 6, 4.5, 5, 6, somewhere in the, well, they keep, that's interesting. There's quite a discrepancy, quite frankly, on where the side judge on the far side thinks that ball goes out, or they end up placing it.
And that one was for about 10 because they lost 4 on that first one. So now they've got 6 to go.
3rd and 6. Here's Thomas, thought about keeping it himself. He's going to dump it off, first down and a little bit more. Out to the 46-yard line, 1st and 10, Broncos.
And that was a nice little pass right there. I mean, he couldn't have thrown that any better. Had to thread the needle right there to make that completion and pick up the first down.
Stephen Thomas put on a clinic last week at Staley on the first couple of drives of the game. I mentioned in the pregame, this is an offense that, look, they can run, they can throw, they have no preference because they can do it all. But it really revolves around the decision-making right there, and again, right on cue, the decision-making of Stephen Thomas. Little read option. And talking with Coach Washington this morning, I said, hey, what makes this guy special? And he says the way that he's able to see the play happen before it does. He's got great instincts.
And was that Scobie who pretty much saved that touchdown?
Yeah, Jenner Scobie from Mill Valley in on the stop. 1st and 10 again for the Broncos. And we are about to have a stampede. Right across the middle. Oh, he had a receiver around the 10-yard line, and he was going to just tiptoe right on into the north end zone. But a little bit too hot to trot behind Stephen Thomas's rocket. Thomas coming into the game with 377 passing yards, 4 touchdowns in his first 2 games. As I mentioned, the coach said he's still developing.
I was going to say there were 300 and whatever yards through 5-6 games in the season. No,
right.
2.
6'3", 205-pound senior. Another little read option. This time he hands it off again. 4, 5, 6 yards. Going to bring up 2nd and 4. Who was that, partner? I think that's Bryce Thompson. And he's talking about the bell cow, Reggie Reese. Here's Bryce Thompson, number 5. Lisa North. Thompson with 238 yards from scrimmage. A couple of tutties. 3rd and around 3. Thomas wants to throw. He's got a receiver. Threw it right behind him. And he tried to get it out to William Ray, the 6'2", 215-pound senior. Ray was there. He had a step on his man, but he wasn't quite a contortionist enough.
And he's been so accurate this game that I'm almost thinking that was a miscommunication for him to throw that ball behind him like that. I think maybe he thought he was going to cut that back inside.
6.5 to play before halftime. Thomas again. Ooh, might have got there a little bit fast. No flag. And I know that Lee Seminole certainly looking for a flag, and do not disagree. But getting there maybe right before Kendon Charbonneau, 5'11", 173 pounds. I mean, look, Charbonneau is just doing his job. He's trying to time it just right, and it was certainly a bang close play, but no flag.
Boo Birds made an appearance there for a little bit. Of course, everybody up here. The fans don't have quite as good of advantage as we do high up here, but they think that they saw some pass interference on that one.
Turnover on downs gives Mill Valley 1st and 10 from their own 26-yard line. Reese back into the right, and he's going to get the rock. He's going to push the ball forward out to around the 33-yard line. I'll tell you, LaMarcus Barber I mean, you see 311 pounds, and I've been effusive with his praise as I have Marcel Reed. They're kind of similar shaped. They're just big fellas. A lot of displacement. 2nd and 6 for Mill Valley. 2 receivers to the bottom, 2 tight end look. Keeping it again is Jay. He's got a little bit of room if he can turn the corner, and that he does. Into Bronco territory, or just shy of it, but he is right there on the 49.5-yard line. Is Blake Jay getting it done again when they needed him to make a play the most.
And that just comes down to, again, him being able to see things seemingly before they happen. He's able to see and find that seam and break that one off for about 18 yards.
Jay gets the snap, going to hand it off to the train. Falls forward, down to the 42-yard line. And Reese back into the contest after sitting out that last series. No indication if it was just simply to rest his legs a little bit, or whether he had some sort of an issue that needed to be dealt with. Marcel Reed, one of these times, he is going to find his way right onto the hip of number 1. I mean, he's come close a couple of times, but what a battle we have on the trenches. And there again, doing a great job. How about that block by LaMarcus Barber from the right side? That's going to move the chains.
And that was Jay doing his best Barry Sanders or Dante Hall human joystick impression on that one. He was bouncing and cutting back, making people miss.
Going with a 5-man front, a little hard count. And there comes the flag for the 4th time tonight. The Jaguars have drawn the Broncos offsides. Broncos are out of their corral, David Trimble. David Trimble's out of his corral. Where you go, my man?
We have to do the obligatory, what is a group of Broncos called?
That would be a group of Broncos. I'm sure there's a fancy name for it.
Not really. It's a herd or a band.
A band.
Yeah.
Okay. The band of Broncos trying to get some pressure, trying to get into the backfield. Hey, that's a good play. It's a heads-up play, using his hands, getting him up there just in the right time. And I'm going to say, who do you think that was? I'm going to find my binoculars. That was number 2. Boy, it's so hard to see. I believe that was Justin Lindsay.
Can you believe that they did not consult you before?
Or you, before they ordered the jerseys.
Before putting these uniforms out.
And Reese pops it back out. He ran into a little bit of a wall, said, hey, I can do better than that. He gets another yard or 2. Yards after contact. As we approach around 4 minutes, 10 seconds until halftime. Jaguars would love to get an equalizer, maybe retake the lead. As they march down the field right now, they have 3rd and 2, presumably 4-down territory. Another heavy package look. Single back is Reese. Holden Appleby at the bottom of your screen. At the top is Bryce Shorten. Jay waits for the snap. He's going to give it to the big locomotive. See, there I go again, switching. This is the train. I'm just going to say Reese. Reggie Reese.
But now that you say it out loud, the big locomotive, it kind of, was,
Steam engine?
What was it, the automatopoeia, a word that represents
the Santa Maria,
the sound?
those are boats.
Yes. But yeah, he was rolling there.
We do have a Piva on the roster for Mill Valley. As you mentioned earlier, we have some fantastic names on the roster of the Broncos. Look at that video board, my goodness. Rivals a lot of small colleges. 4th and 1 for Mill Valley. Trying for a hard count. 15 seconds on the play clock. Jay looks to the sideline and back. Now he waits for the snap, gonna do a quick handoff to Reese, and he's gonna have it. He's got a way about him. that he will not be denied. He twists and turns and he rolls forward like a bowling ball, knocking down pins. That's going to move the chains, and the ball is going to be spotted at the 27-yard line. 1st and 10 Jaguars with 2:53 left before halftime.
And that was, again, yards after contact. He was hit well short of the first down marker, and he just kept churning those legs and poked through somehow.
5-man front for the Bronco defense. They're doing a good job of containing the edges, bringing in that extra linebacker as well. Try to keep those, and again, for the second time this series. Now, I am going to sit here with my binoculars on, and I'm just going to wait and wait until I can't see it. Cannot see it. May have to look at it on replay. It's going to be a 2nd down and 10 for the Jags. Stone Zambo lines up in the slot. Reese to the right of Jay, and going to the right they are. And he's got Reese down inside the 20, inside the 15. Drug out of bounds to around the 15-yard line. And I think I got it. I do believe that it was either Caleb. Did I hear Caleb Green? Is that what the?
I believe that's what
horrible.
it was, yeah.
Pride myself in getting names right, numbers right, but this is kind of a little bit of a challenge.
But you're up for the challenge, Sean.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate that belly rub. 2:43 left before half. Twins to the top, 2 tight end look. Zambo to the left. Piva back into the game behind Jay, who's going to get the handoff. He's going to lower his shoulder inside the 10, inside the 5. He's dragging Broncos with him into the end zone. Touchdown, Mill Valley, Max Piva.
And how was he able to make it into the end zone? He drug a pair of Broncos at least 5 yards on that one to be able to get in there. And maybe he's wanting to take over the moniker of locomotive from Mr. Reese.
Impressive play that was, but a big credit to the Mill Valley offensive line. Hopkins and Darr, Michael Fitzpatrick, mentioned Nick Pilhauer, and Marcus Barber as well. That's one of those plays that, as a defender, you're just hanging on for dear life, thinking, I hope he trips up, because that's one of those that you're going to watch it on the film and it's going to look a lot worse than it was. But how about that? Hat tip to number 9, Max Piva. Ties the game, and that point after puts the Jaguars up by 1, 14-13. 2.5 to play before halftime. And David Trimble, did you know at Lawn and Leisure in Lee Summit and Blue Springs, their mission is to offer you the latest and new lawn and garden products and maintenance parts, and do it all while offering the absolute best customer service in town. When you walk in for the first time to Lawn and Leisure of Lee Summit, you'll feel like you're walking into a place you've been before. You'll see plenty of smiles, but also plenty of equipment from manufacturers such as John Deere, Steel, Skag, Boss Snowplows, Toro, and more. Folks at Lawn and Leisure Lee Summit will only sell products and parts they would sell to a family member, and once you become a customer, you'll be a part of the Lawn and Leisure family. Visit lawnandleisure.com on the web, or stop by and say hi anytime. Ask for Carrier Steve, and be sure to tell Steve he reminds you of Fabio. I've been a customer for years, and I know once you give them a try, you will be too. They're just a couple blocks east of Lee Summit High on Blue Parkway, behind the Quick Trip, but not as far as Habaneros, and across the highway from Home Depot. Look for the line of John Deere tractors out front. Lawn and Leisure of Lee Summit is a proud supporter of high school football in Kansas City. I understand you've had a chance to do some business over at Lawn and Leisure, David Trimble.
I have. They are fantastic people over there. They got me all set up on my John Deere. I forget the model number, 42E, something like that. And then I got a steel chainsaw. I got it all tuned up earlier in the year.
Is that the one that wouldn't start for like 3 years every time I asked to borrow it? I always just thought
that's why I took it to them, so that they could get me set up.
Well, we are set up for the final 2 quarters plus 2.5 minutes of play, and a little flubber. I don't know whether that was intentional or not. But based on the reaction to the sideline, I don't think it was by Mill Valley, but a good job by the Bronco, again, special teams crew getting it done.
Special teams has been the name of the game for the Broncos this game. Offense has done a fine job. It's just being overshadowed by the special teams have just played outstanding.
As a reminder, at halftime, we'll have a little bit of Hayden's Huddle. We'll bring you scores and more from other games throughout the area. And there's the flag, a little delay flag hitting the turf. They're going to move him back 5 yards. A little procedure. It's going to make it 1st and 15 for the Broncos. And that first drive, is that, again, I go back to it, they've only had one drive tonight, and we're almost to halftime. This is the second drive tonight for the Broncos. Stephen Thomas did a good job of distributing the ball, making plays with his feet when he had nobody there. Well in control of the offense. And look at that cutback. That could have been bad news. Now there he is. No question about it. I can see that number 5. Bryce Thompson, of course, is pretty easy to spot. And another cramp, presumably cramp. Hopefully that's all that it is. I'm sure as he's sitting down there, he's saying he wishes it was something else, because some of those cramps can absolutely be debilitating. 2:22 left before halftime. David Trimble, as we look back on the first half, as they go into the locker room here in a couple of minutes of play. What's something that you think that Mill Valley's Joel Appleby is going to be talking to his squad at halftime and trying to get them to tighten up just a little bit?
Well, on the opposite side of Lee Summit North's special teams going crazy, he's going to definitely be riding the special teams of Mill Valley, saying we have got to contain these guys. We cannot give up those big plays because, number one, they're points, and number two, that gets so much momentum. That gets the crowd into it. That gets the student section, who is in full force tonight. It gets them going, and it just makes, their job, Mill Valley, it makes their job harder. They have to compete with that 13th and 14th man of the crowd and the student section, trying to make sure that they are not jumping off sides themselves.
This will be the 11th play on offense from the Broncos once they break the huddle. Relatively even distribution, 5 runs and 5 passes. Had a couple of penalties in there, of course. They got second down from the 43-yard line of the Broncos. A couple of timeouts in their pocket. Still plenty of time to make it down, which they can do just on one play. Here's Thomas. He's got a receiver again. They love those little 10-yard curl routes. And ultimately, that's something that kind of destroyed Staley last week in the Broncos game against him. And they'll send 3 or 4 receivers out. They'll spread them out wide. They'll have him stop 10 yards, turn around, wait for the ball, make a few more yards after the catch.
And it was such a quick strike on that one. I mean, he did not need very long to get that far down the field and finish his route.
And there he goes this time. That's Thompson again down the right side. He cuts it back inside the 20. He cuts it back again. Inside the 10, inside the end zone. Touchdown, Broncos. Not so fast, the White Hat says. I do not see a flag.
It's right there at the 30. It's kind of in the area of
there it is.
An offensive holding.
To spring that one extra block to get him loose. But the official right there is all over it. Only been 2 officials to throw their flags tonight. That is the same gentleman. He's been on the line, and he's had to call 5 procedure penalties against the Broncos. And there's the official call, holding against Lee Summit North. He's going to back him off. got to the 41-yard line. And well, not even that. Thought he was going to the 41, backed it up to the 40, and here we are. 1:52 left before halftime. 1st and 10 Broncos from the 40-yard line of Mill Valley. Mill Valley 4-man front, 3 receivers for the Broncos. This time they send a couple deeper, but they still go back. This time about a 15-yard shot, a cross back coming in. That is number 13, I believe, Aaron McIntosh, who Coach Washington said, when I asked him earlier, when I saw him, I said, Coach, who's that one player on your roster that is ripe for a huge game, who's looked so good in practice this week? And he said, oh, that's easy, Aaron McIntosh. You can certainly see why. Great catch by Mr. McIntosh, big game player. He's so smooth as Bryce Thompson. He's just got that shimmy to him, that little shake,
And
just
he's
enough.
so quick. So quick to change directions and cut it back.
And he doesn't have to move far. I mean, he makes good use of his body, if you can understand that. He'll just kind of go as far as he needs to. Sometimes, even the best running backs, they think they have to really step out beyond, 1 yard or 2 to make that cut. But oftentimes, all it takes is just a little bit of a shimmy. Timeout by Mill Valley. Coach Appleby saw something that Coach Strack he did not approve of. 1:16 left before halftime. I'm hearing somebody talk to us on the PA. Is that? I think I heard somebody ask, where could you, and maybe it's a question for you, David Trimble, if you were looking, maybe you're in the market to do some kitchen remodeling, and you're looking to find a fabricator for some granite and some countertops in the Kansas City area. Do you know who one of the top fabricators are in the Midwest?
Is it Dimensional Stoneworks?
Well, indeed it is. It is not Midland Marble. I think Midland Marble's out of business, but Dimensional Stoneworks.
I'm just naming all of them I know, Sean.
Yeah, exactly, ones you've dealt with before. Well, I've had the pleasure of dealing with Dimensional Stoneworks out of Belton, Missouri, but look them up online, dimensionalstoneworks.com. Fabricator for all things granite and quartz and stone. They do a fantastic job. A lot better than going to the big box stores where they'll give you free microfiber. Back into play. Here's Thomas. He's going to be met by a couple of white jerseys, but he does fall forward to around the 11-yard line. Clocks are running 106, 105.
And he really wanted to go middle, right over the end zone. He almost pulled that trigger, but he didn't like it. Quite what he saw. So decided to pull that one back down and taking himself up a few yards.
Taking their dear sweet time are the Broncos. Under 50 to play before halftime. Heavy package, another handoff. This is going to Thompson, and he goes inside the 5. Now 38.4, the chains will move. But 1st and goal for Lee Summit North. And do we see, is this another, an injury timeout? I think Stephen Thomas was kind of making his way to the side. Well, or is it a full timeout, David? I didn't see the signal.
I believe it's just a full timeout. Charged to the Broncos. I believe that would be their last one. They did have to burn that one earlier.
Well, it is homecoming here tonight at Lee Summit North High School. At halftime, we will do our best to bring you those homecoming coronation ceremonies, but we will caution you if there's any, the pop music, anything that's not Johnny Cash. If you hear that playing, we'll have to turn down the audio. Of course, copyright issues. Don't want to get in trouble with the big YouTube in the sky, but we will be able to be on air and give you those sports or scores updates throughout the area. Brought to you by A10varsity.com. 38.4 seconds left before halftime. The Jaguars are up by 1, 14-13. But the Broncos inside the 5 of the Jaguars as they trot back out. Behind number 1, Stephen Thomas. Looking for his 5th touchdown of the year. So far, both touchdowns for the Broncos scored at the hands of Josiah Robinson, but not on offense. How about that stat? Thomas, little read option, going to keep it. He hits his first wall And now they're saying that the ball is out, and Hayden Heller saying, hey, that's going back the way of the Jaguar. No indication yet. They have to peel him off of the pile, the officials, and there it is. There's the signal. Mill Valley forces a turnover inside their own 5-yard line to stop the Bronco rally.
And if the Mill Valley defense were to choose a time that they needed to show up, that was it right there. Going into halftime, being able to keep Lee Summit North out of the end zone and maintain their 1-point lead. If Lee Summit North would have gotten in there, the momentum swing would have been huge. Now Mill Valley, they got to be a little bit careful because they have been getting some pressure in there on Jay.
And they should be. They have one timeout, there's one timeout left for the Broncos. So, yeah, presumably they're just going to try to push the pile forward. Jay will fall down. One more timeout, well, or not.
Like
it looks
enough
like
room
that's
to
interesting.
take a knee down there.
Well, you would think that perhaps Coach Washington would say, hey, we want him to snap it again. You never know what can happen, a bad snap. Maybe he kneels down just on the wrong side of the goal line. But the official's still holding the ball. I'm not exactly sure why. And Coach Washington doesn't seem to have an issue with it. And they're going to go to the locker room at halftime. Down by 1 to the visiting Jaguars out of Mill Valley. 14-13. We're going to be back with the first half recap, a little bit more. As I mentioned, scores from around the area. Brought to you by A10Varsity.com. We'll be right back. And welcome back here to Lee Summit North High School, where it is homecoming week. And the cheerleaders are going to, I'm sorry. Oh boy, I could be in big trouble right now. They're not cheerleaders. This is the dance team. The dance team, I'm sorry, dance moms. And welcome back now. Time for some scores and more. Compliments of 810varsity.com on the Kansas side. Can tell you that Olathe North doing battle with Rockhurst. Halftime score, it's all Rockhurst, 21-7 over the Eagles of Olathe North. Highland Park 14, Sumner 2. Atchison, the Phoenix of Atchison High over Harmon 48-0. Spring Hill 21, Tongies 0. Ottawa and the Bulldogs of Baldwin, they are up 15-0. Lewisburg and Paola all tied up at 14's halftime score. Eudora 28, Bonner 0. Shawnee Heights and Topeka West, no score in that one. That is early in the contest. Leavenworth and the Lions of Lansing High all tied up at 7 at the half. Crosstown rivalry just to the north and a little bit to the west of us here. DeSoto up big over Turner 31-0. That's halftime score. The Pirates of Piper High over Baser Linwood 14-7. The Raiders out of Shawnee Mission South up big 28-0 over Pittsburgh. Shawnee Mission East, next week's foe for the Jaguars, 21, Topeka Seaman 14. Great Bend making the trip all the way up to play Olathe South tonight. They're up 14-0. Olathe East 27, Dodge City 7. Of course, St. Pius and Gardner-Edgerton, we talked about that before. Gardner up 27-7 over Pius. Blue Valley Southwest, well, they're having a little trouble with the Stags of Bishop Miege, 28-7. Blue Valley down by 2 on the road over at Washburn Rural. Tough place to play, as the Tigers are finding out tonight. Blue Valley North up by 7 at halftime over the Bison of Shawnee Mission North. And St. James Academy and St. Thomas Aquinas, they're all tied up at 14. And the Owls of Olathe West over Blue Valley West, 14-3 at halftime. And we have a special guest who's just popped in to the studio high atop Broncos Stadium here at Lee Summit North High School. Welcome in Mill Valley Athletic Director, easy for me to say, Brent Bouchard. Welcome to the, what do we call this, the Penthouse here at Broncos Stadium.
That's a good place to watch the game. I think I might stay up here the rest of the night.
There's a little bit of a breeze out here. We're in open air for those of you that haven't been up here, so there's no air conditioning, but yeah, this is really turning out to be a great venue, and they're always so hospitable here whenever we're over here. But Coach, in addition to the football team, that anybody that follows football around the Midwest, certainly Kansas City, knows about the football program and its success over the years, but you have some other programs in Mill Valley that do pretty well as also. Tell us about what's going on at Mill Valley.
Yeah, I tell a lot of people Mill Valley's got it going on. It has nothing to do with me. It definitely has everything to do with who we got in place and our coaches. Obviously, we got a 2-time defending state champion volleyball team. We've got a defending girls track team who won state last year in 6A. We've got a softball program that was 4th in the state, a baseball program that went to the state tournament. On the boys' side of the track, we brought a trophy home there as well. The cross country's always up there, and obviously last couple of years bringing home some trophies in wrestling. So yeah, it's pretty much if you come to a sporting event, you're going to see a top team in the state no matter what you're watching.
Now, the question that I have for you, of course, for those that are listening, you think, how is that possible? What are they putting in the water out there around in West Shawnee? But it's really more than that. It's more of a grassroots from the ground up effort. Talk to us, if you will, about some of the youth programs and those other programs in the community that contribute to the success at some of the early ages that these student athletes partake in.
Yeah, particularly in the summer. I think the school is probably more busy than it is during the school year in the summer. And if you come up to the summer, you'll see a few of our high school students, but you'll mainly see the youth programs, whether that's the junior JAG, the football program, or we got youth volleyball going on, youth girls basketball, boys basketball. We got wrestling club going on in the wrestling room. We got as far as like distance running for cross country and track, we got of all ages, doing that as well. So it starts young, and the community has that's a big part of it. They got buy-in, and they want to see that when their kids get up to being in the high school, and they know what it takes, and to start them, as early as they can.
Well, looking down here, we're on the Leesama North Broncos sideline. We see a lot of the students are wearing all white, but I do see there's a number of young student athletes, probably elementary school aged here on this side of the field as well. And, well, no surprise, a couple of the top programs in the Midwest. So you're exactly right. It does start at a young age. Well, as you look forward to the second half, obviously, as a Jaguar fan, what are you looking at out of the Jaguars to kind of maybe add to their 1-point lead and to get a little cushion there going into the rest of this contest?
Yeah, I think, it's no question we need to stop the big plays. I think having a 1-point lead right now, I'm not sure if we're fortunate or they're fortunate because they don't have any offensive points. They've come off of, as you saw, the kickoff return and then the fumble recovery. So, I was pleased with our defense. They had a couple good stops and obviously that turnover at the end. I think definitely how well coached we are. They're making the adjustments they need right now. And, offensively, I think we just need to keep, owning the time of possession and giving them limited opportunities to score the ball.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit more for Hayden's huddle in a second, but you're exactly right. Time of possession certainly in the favor of Mill Valley. In fact, it wasn't until 8 minutes into the second quarter before the Bronco offense saw the field. A stat that I don't think I've ever heard before, going number one an entire quarter, but nearly halfway into the next quarter before they touched the ball. Certainly going to be a lot to watch here. In the second half, we're about 11 and a half minutes away from getting underway again. We're joined by Mill Valley Athletic Director Brett Bouchard. And Coach, I had an opportunity to talk with your friend, Athletic Director here at Leesama North, Mike McGurk, and, over this past week. And, one thing that kind of stands out to me between you two guys, you seem like guys that are willing to do whatever you need to do for the betterment and the good of the community of the school, but also the way that you treat everybody, whether it's, the janitor or star athlete or what that is. Tell me, what is it in your makeup? And like I said, Mike's exactly the same way that, gets you out of bed in the morning and that, kind of wires you like that to go the extra mile.
Yeah, Mike's one of the best, and not just in the area, but in the nation. He's led our national organization, the NIAAA, as the president. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. So having those guys just around me and knowing them is one part of it. Obviously, I've been, born and raised in the family of athletics and watched my dad do it for his entire career. And so, it's kind of in my blood, I guess you could say. But, just waking up and knowing that everyone's got a seat on the bus, and no matter who that is, they're important and they play a vital role in what we got going on. So, and kind of the one thing that I've always, been told by somebody that's pretty important to me is nothing leads by example. So, that's kind of something that I do try to do every day. And when people see me treat the custodians the same way that I treat Coach Appleby, that's a pretty big message for people to see that and not just preach it, but also live it.
Mill Valley Athletic Director Brent Bouchard joining us up here in the, call it the penthouse, high atop Leesama North Broncos Stadium. We're in about 9.5 minutes. We're going to get back underway. Now, I'm looking for Mike. He should be up here at some point. So we'll certainly tell him all the things that you said about him and some of the challenges that you offered him. But we're glad that you took some time to join us here on A10varsity.com. Wish you the best the rest of this way. And not that I root for either team, but just hope for a good, clean game the rest of the way.
Yeah, it's been a great game. Looking forward to the second half. And it's been a pleasure standing next to the Kansas Broadcaster of the Year right here in Sean Brewer.
Here we go. Here we go.
Nothing better than, I'm not sure I'm worthy of standing next to you right here.
Here we go.
But
we go.
I appreciate you having me on.
All right, partner. Always nice talking with you. Brett Bouchard, Athletic Director of Mill Valley, joining us up here in the penthouse on A10varsity.com. We'll be back right after this.
Look at you go. The one-trip grocery champ, snooze button resistor, master sock matcher. We know the daily grind can be tough, but amidst the hustle, we see you conquer it all. And at Scooters Coffee, we believe it's the little wins that deserve some big moments of joy. So go on, embrace that tiny triumph. You master parallel parker you. Take that victory lap and savor the sweet taste of success. Scooters Coffee, you didn't just order it, you earned it.
And welcome back, and now it is time, as we've done for a couple of years now, off and on. We are fortunate to have one of the best camera operators in the city, Hayden Kilo, a local student here, and we're going to bring him in for kind of a quick overview of the first half action. Take it away, Hayden Kilo, for Hayden's Huddle. You know what, hey, before you do that, we need to have some sort of like intro music. Hey, right on cue. All right, Hayden, what do you got for us, my man?
All right, welcome to it. Hayden's Huddle is officially here. We come into the second half of play with 13 for the Broncos and 14 for the Jaguars. However, the most interesting thing coming out of this first half is that the Broncos have not scored a single point using their offense. All of them have come from one man, Josiah Robinson. And now listen, if I am the head coach of the Broncos, here's what I'm saying. I'm grabbing my water boy who's next to me, I'm whipping out my wallet, giving him my card and saying, go buy me a cake for Josiah. And if he keeps playing like this, I'm gonna get him a trip to the Golden Corral. I may even buy him a Golden Corral. He's doing absolutely phenomenal for a special teams and defensive player. He's almost a Deion Sanders out there, completely shutting down the offense and anything they can do. However, the Broncos are not without their struggles even on the defense. One of the main ones is penalties. They've had about 5 different penalties when it comes to encroachment, and at least 1 or 2 when it comes to personal fouls. They've got to cut that out, and coming into the second half of play, if their defense locks down, becomes more disciplined, it's going to become far easier for them to win. Now, on the flip side of the Broncos ball, the Broncos offense has been incredibly good. However, they haven't been able to put up any points despite having 2 different possessions. The main reason for this, Mill Valley's defense has been playing fairly exceptional. However, Mill Valley's defense, despite playing exceptional, has been relying on luck. At the very end of the second half, very end of the first half, before the Broncos gave over the ball, they were driving hard against Mill Valley. The only reason they got it was because Mill Valley was able to force a fumble. And relying on forced fumbles isn't a reliable strategy. So the Broncos offense needs to keep up what it's doing because it is going to work. Mill Valley has just got a little bit lucky from here on out. Now, on the flip side of the ball, the visiting team, the Mill Valley Jaguars. What can they do? Well, the first thing I'm doing as I'm Coach Appleby is I'm making everyone on the special teams do sprints because Josiah Robinson being able to run at 90 yards on the first time the Broncos touch the ball, that's something they got to work on. That's something they definitely got to work on. Now we'll start on the defense of the Broncos for the Jaguars. The Jaguars defense has to do a couple things. The main thing they need to do is they need to play more conservative. They've allowed the Broncos to run wild. They've allowed Stephen Thompson to do what he wants. He's a very versatile and a very smart QB. You need to know that, and you need to adjust your strategies accordingly. What they need to do is they need to have their safeties play more of a zone. Because of that, they're going to be able to contain any yardings that actually get out of the way and any complete passes. It's going to become a far more effective strategy that limits the Broncos being able to have big, high-powered plays. And even if you give up 5 yards, it's better than giving up 50. Lock down and become more conservative. Giving up 5 yards is preferable to 50, okay? They got to do that. Now, on the flip side for the Jaguar ball, on the Jaguar offense, there's a couple things they got to do here. The main thing is they've got to pass the ball. They've been doing absolutely phenomenal when it comes to the running game. However, they need to pass the ball a bit more because of how close this game is. By continuously running the ball, they're going to drain down the clock more than they would if they were passing it. And because of that, they should keep passing the ball. I'd also like to see a jet sweep because I don't think the Broncos defense can actually contain a run to the outside. So a jet sweep could be a viable play for the Jaguars going forwards. And with that, I will leave it off here and give it back to Sean Brewer.
You know, every time that I listen to Hayden's Huddle, I watch you and I think, well, somehow he's found a printer, a computer, he's written all of this out sometime right before halftime, and he has nothing. Nothing. This is all from memory. This is all from a couple of scribbles on his notes as he makes throughout the first half, and he's absolutely nails. Hayden Kilo, my man. Always a pleasure. Now, what a tough act to follow. No, but Hayden did a good job of breaking down the action in the first half and what we've seen out of both squads and what we expect to see a little bit more and probably a little bit less from both the Jaguars and the Broncos. 1:45 left of this halftime break. We're going to take a quick break ourselves and be right back. Live from Lisa North.
Tiki-taka, tiki-taka.
Quick check back into some scores from around the area, brought to you by A10varsity.com. The great Jim McClintock doing a great job of keeping us all updated. A couple of quick look back to the couple of games of note. Shawnee Mission North and Blue Valley North. Not one that you would suspect would be too tight, but it is. Blue Valley North holding on to a 7-0 lead at halftime. St. James and St. Thomas. St. James Academy, St. Thomas Aquinas still tied up at 14, halftime score. Olathe West 14, Blue Valley West 3. Shawnee Mission South, David Trimble, it's nothing's greater than being a...
Nothing greater than a Raider.
There you go, Shawnee Mission South graduate. Shout out to Coach, Hall of Fame Coach Bruce Bowe. You got Eudora up big over Bonner, 28-0. Topeka West and Shawnee Heights. Heights is now up 22-0. Lansing and Leavenworth still tied up at 7. DeSoto 31 now over Turner. And there's 0. Piper still up by 7 over Basel Linwood, 14-7. And Lewisburg and Paola in a tight one, but the Panthers out of Paola have now taken a 7-point lead, 21-14 in the third quarter. Ottawa 15, Baldwin 0. Spring Hill 21, Tongi 0. Atchison over Harmon 48-0. Highland Park 20, Sumner 2. Rockers 21, Olathe North 7. And of course right here at Lisa North High School, Mill Valley leads by 1 at halftime. 14-13, battle the two of the top 10s in the A10 varsity top 25. So bring back in my good friend and partner, not that kind of partner, David Trimble. Now, if you're Coach Appleby in that halftime break, what are you telling your Jaguar team?
I'm telling them we've got to watch out for the big plays. It seems like Lee Summit North has kind of lived and died by the big plays, you know, whether it be their special teams or the runs, pass and catches. You know, I mean, they've been getting big chunks. They have not been doing what Mill Valley's been doing, where they've been getting the chunk runs, you know, the 5, 6, 7 yarders. They need to watch out and protect against the big plays. You know, give up the 4 or 5 yarders just to not give up those big plays that can be so dangerous with the Lee Summit North speed that they have, because they can make things happen in a hurry, which we have seen several times this game. So I just tell them, my defense, we gotta tighten up the bootstraps, tighten up your belt. If you have something, tighten it up and get down, pin the ears back, if you will, to make sure that we do not allow them to put any more points, preferably, or as few points on the board as possible.
That first half, David. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, man.
I was going to say, Mill Valley came away with a huge fumble recovery at the 2-yard line, as Lee Summit North was threatening to take it into the house and then going into halftime. So I just tell them to keep that mentality.
Leading all rushers for the Broncos, Bryce Thompson. He has 53 yards from scrimmage on the other side of the ball. Reggie Reese, not as prolific as we've seen him in other games, especially last year against these Broncos. That was over on the Kansas side. Reggie Reese went for over 200 yards from scrimmage. This game, well, he's well short of 50. Max Piva is doing a good job spelling Reggie Reese when given the opportunity. But here we go. Half number 2, quarter number 3 is upon us. And back to receive. Well, let's see. I think, get out the old binoculars. I don't know. I think I'm just going to go through the entire Lee Summit North roster so I don't miss anyone, whether it's Aiden Shaw, whether it's Cade Vano, Elias Addy, Nolan Spinks. That's what I really need to do. And I apologize to those young folks and their families. As you can see on your screen, being able to read some of these jersey numbers is a pretty tall task. Standing back at the 6-yard line, the two Bronco returners. And the kick, a little squib kick, going to be taken by the up back, and he has trouble on it. And falling on top of it is Mill Valley at the 31-yard line, and it is Mill Valley ball. Take a bow, Garrett Cox. Right place, right time, and talk about momentum. David Trimble, this game has been nothing but that. Big play after big play, and for twice in the past 3 plays, Mill Valley is forced to fumble and has recovered that fumble.
Well, and I'm not sure if that was by design. At this point in time, I got to think that it is, because that's the second kind of pooch-style kick that Mill Valley has come out with. The first one was not successful. This one was, just kind of caught them sleeping a little bit coming out of the locker room, and he wasn't able to secure that one.
Put away my notes and talking about the Bronco offense, but back to the Jaguars. 2 tight end look, man in the slot is Zambo. Handing it off to Big Tony, 5. He falls inside the 30. It's going to bring up 2nd and long for the Jags. And a little bit of fire and brimstone being shown by the big fella inside. I think that was Marcel Reed and Jairee McDaniel. Did we have, I swear, Marcel Reed, I think he changed his jersey because he was absolutely drenched in halftime, but as a former player myself, that's not an easy task to do at halftime. The last thing you want to do is change your clothes. But a change of direction. Following that Jaguar forced turnover on the kickoff. But technically, I guess you wouldn't list it as a turnover since it just kind of ricocheted off. I don't know that the up back ever had complete control of the ball, but a good heads-up play by Mill Valley to get on top of it. Just underway here in quarter number 3, 14-13. Jaguars up by 1. The 2 touchdowns by the Broncos, neither of them scored on offense. In fact, the offense of the Broncos did not touch the ball until 8 minutes left in the second quarter. They had 17 plays after that to 26 in its entirety for Mill Valley in the first half. There's Jay. He's going to take it himself, but guess what? He's got company in the backfield. Somehow he gets out and around. A little semi-late push finds Jay on the track, which I'm sure if he did run track, maybe he does, I'm sure he'd be a standout. So many multi-sport players on both sides of the ball. You know, and talking with Coach Deron Washington earlier this week, you know, he kind of talked about that. I said, you know, what's kind of the characteristic that you like to think of or that you tell others about your team? And he said they're just dudes. They're just dudes that can play multiple positions. They like to play multiple sports, and we can certainly see that athleticism tonight. Jay's going to look to the sideline after a quick snap. The top of your screen. Once again, Ryan Helm. They're going to go inside. I don't know if it's going to be enough, but this time the side judge comes running in. Nick Pillhauer Jr., I think the official might have said something to him, and Pillhauer, he's putting up his arms like, Mom, I did not eat the last cookie. I promise you that. And now they're saying that a turnover has occurred. Mill Valley puts it on the ground, and the Broncos doing their best Jaguar impression, recovering the fumble. 10-18 left in the third quarter. We've had, 4 or 5 plays now to start the second half, and 2 of those plays have resulted in fumbles.
And that was the most nonchalant, exchange I've ever seen. You know, normally the players are coming up, they're all pointing one direction, the others are pointing the other direction, and just all of a sudden, it is Lee Summit North ball.
There's Thompson. He cuts back to the left, and he has come so dangerously close all night. He's about ready to give us some fireworks He just has to beat that last man, but he has been looking good tonight when given the opportunity. And another first down for the Broncos. Stephen Thomas, we talked about him in the first half, how he has such command and control over this offense. And just in the film that I was able to watch from game one, their game against Ray-Pec, where they won, was it about 28-14, and then last week against Staley, the improvement from week 1 to week 2 was certainly noticeable, and he is not letting up here in their third game of the year, trying to make the Broncos go to 3-0. Give Mill Valley their first loss of the year, but they're down by 1 with 9:36 left in the third quarter.
And I'm thinking that with this start to the first half, third quarter, with so many turnovers, I'm thinking they're going to be pretty happy to just go in there and get these little chunk plays right there. They get 7 on first down, pick up another 7 to pick up the first down, getting dangerously close to Mill Valley territory. Kind of settle down into the game a little bit.
First and 10 from their own 46-yard line. Thomas has all the time. Well, not so much anymore. Hayden Heller says, hey, get down on the turf. And he gets a little bit of help. But Hayden Heller got there first. And Josh Garcia cleaned it up. Puts him on the ground all the way back to their own 27-yard line. It's going to be second down and forever for the Broncos.
But if I'm the Broncos, I'm not that worried because they can put up a 30, 40, 50-yard play seemingly at will.
We saw it last week. Let me tell you something about Mr. Thomas, QB1 for the Broncos. He can stand flat-footed and just sort of fling it about 50 yards. He's got a heck of an arm on him. And again, and those are plays, and Mill Valley's doing a great job of dropping that, and really kind of bringing in an extra safety, but dropping that linebacker back when they have that formation. I'm sure they picked that up on film as well. They did that a lot against Staley and really abused the Falcons last week. But just those little 10-yard curl routes have not been there all night for this Bronco offense.
And that's a credit to the coaching staff on Mill Valley, making sure that his guys are watching film and understanding if we see this look, they're most likely going to do this, and having the players adjust.
Third and just shy of 30 yards to go. There's Thomas. He's going to tuck it. He's going to try to run for whatever he can. He's doing a great job. He slides down, and he is going to be well short. He got it back up to around the 34-yard line of the Broncos, and presumably that is going to force a punting situation for the first time tonight for Lee Summit North.
While they are capable of the big play, I'm not sure in a one-point game, still fairly early in the third quarter, how much they want to put into a 4th and 22 situation. I think best to just cut rope, send the punt as far as you can down there, and live to fight another day.
Well, or are they, though? Are they going to pull what Mill Valley did toward the end of the first half, and they just backed up the quarterback for a little pooch kick? And I can feel the wind coming in. Well, it's not really wind. There's just kind of a strong breeze from the north, so we won't have to get too much. Well, that's an interesting spiral-type punt, but that is going to take a Bronco roll in the 30. Down around the 28-yard line of Mill Valley, where they're going to have it 1st and 10. Start their second drive. The first one ended in disaster for Mill Valley. They're going to have drive number 2 come up, but another opportunity for this Bronco defense to show us what they're made of. We come back live. Lisa North on 18varsity.com.
Look at you go. The one-trip grocery champ, snooze button resistor, master sock matcher. We know the daily grind can be tough, but amidst the hustle, we see you conquer it all. And at Scooters Coffee, we believe it's the little wins that deserve some big moments of joy. So go on, embrace that tiny triumph. You master parallel parker you. Take that victory lap and savor the sweet taste of success. Scooters Coffee, you didn't just order it, you earned it.
1st and 10, Mill Valley. There's Jay scrambling out to his right, cuts back to his left. He's going to tuck it. He's going to run like he's done so many times tonight. And, ooh, boy, that's... Now, I'm way up here. I'm not in a position. There's a reason that I'm not wearing stripes.
They say they're very slimming.
Maybe I should then. But they're going to get, I believe, the defender out of Lee Summit North. And again, I'd love to tell you the number. I just can't read it. They're just dark on dark, and it's impossible. You know what I should have done at halftime? Go down to the locker room like with some Kramer tape, the white tape, and just try to outline some of those numbers. But I was busy with Hayden's huddle. Certainly didn't want to miss that. And Mill Valley Athletic Director Britt Machard. We hope to have Lee Summit North Athletic Director Mike McKirk up here at some point. Talk about all things Lee Summit North. Always a pleasure to chat with Mike. Does a great job here as Athletic Director for the Broncos. In fact, he had to let me in twice this morning, David Trimble. I didn't want to say anything because it's kind of embarrassing. Came up here to put up the equipment, locked myself out. Had to walk all the way over from the school twice. Here we go, heavy package. 1st and 10, Mill Valley. 2 receivers to the bottom of your screen. Reese to the left, who's going to get the handoff into Bronco territory all the way down to the 44. That's going to be about 3.5 yards. Well, they're going to mark it. Wow. About a yard discrepancy from the near side official to the far side. And we have another cramping Bronco. That has been a problem for the Broncos tonight. It's got to be frustrating for those players, certainly, but I know that they're trying to pound the Powerade here on the near side. Well, tonight is homecoming for Lee Summit North. We saw the coronation of the king and queen, and we would love to tell you if anybody knows the name of the young lady and the young gentleman. They're wearing the crown and the tiara. Do they still have those? Do they actually have a crown and a tiara?
I'm not sure. I think I might have seen like a scepter of some kind
that's
for
even
the
better.
for the male.
And then like a sword for the young lady? Wouldn't that be fantastic?
It would be. I'm not sure how the Missouri Education Department would look on
Fair point.
giving swords.
Right. Well, when you talk about these two teams, Mill Valley and Lee Summit North, you can't help but think about, the long line of players that have gone on to play on Saturdays and even some playing on Sundays now, and don't have to go too far. I was able to see Mr. Mosey and his father about 2 weeks ago now up at Arrowhead Stadium when the Cornhuskers came down and took over Arrowhead. Go Big Red. Getting some snarky looks over here. My goodness, from some OU fans. Don't know what's going on here. But no, there's a long list of players playing at the highest collegiate levels and certainly in the pros as well from both of these two squads. A lot of history. We'll go into a little bit more into that later in this broadcast, but 6:47 left in the third quarter. Here's Zambo in motion. Little misdirection, and Jay's going to keep it himself. He's going to be just shy of the first down. They're going to need about 1 to move the chains.
And they're probably calling up the Reggie Reese special for that 1 yard.
Tickets, please. Tickets, please. All aboard. Again, locomotive sounds good, but it's too many I don't know. Got to work on that. Got to work on a lot of things. Jay, another keeper, cuts it back, has the first down a little bit more, just in front of the Mill Valley bench and further inside Bronco territory, marking them out at the 41. All right, beg your pardon. Sometimes I rely on the scoreboard just a little bit too much as I'm making my notes.
I think that's going to be the 36.
Exactly. Scoreboard says 41. There we go. Now they fixed it. These kids are fired up for homecoming. Certainly fired up for this contest. So are we here from Lee Summit North on 810varsity.com. Zambo lining up in the slot, and we've seen him get loose earlier, but now he's going to be a blocker, and Jay's going to keep it once again, and he gets twisted back and around. Corkscrews back down around the 38-yard line. Defender coming out from his linebacker spot, and I think that was Jaden Hines, possibly Naz Palmer. is it 2 digits or 1? Palmer is 11 and Hines is 6.
Picks up 2 for the Jaguars.
I think that was Hines.
Makes it 2nd and 8. At the Broncos 34-yard line.
A couple of substitutions there for the Broncos after that last play. Second down and a flag, and that's going to go, I believe that's going to be encroachment. We'll see. And wait for the official. Both sides are pointing at the other. Reggie Reese out there talking to the white hat, lobbying as good as he can. These officials tonight doing a great job, as all these officials do. Certainly oftentimes a thankless job as an official myself. I can appreciate what they go through. Oh, dead ball. Well, okay, that's going to go against the team in whites. And in a game that is predicated, you would think coming into the game, momentum's going to play a huge role into whichever team comes out on top. The same way that it did last year over at Mill Valley High when these two teams played. Even though the score wasn't exactly representative of how tight it was certainly tight by play on the field. And Jay, another hard count. Looks to the sideline. Now they have 4 coaches out there signaling in plays. Reese, fake, across the middle, and that's got to be a flag. Now that's an interesting call. The official that was right there running with Zambo didn't pull his flag, but the back judge could not get into his pocket fast enough. There may be a little discussion about that. I think the back judge had to come up and kind of make the argument that in fact was defensive pass interference.
And because he was in front of it, he might not have been able to see, when it's such a bang-bang play like that, he might not have been able to see the early contact if the Mill Valley player was in between. Not 100% sure. But a penalty nonetheless. It's going to be marked off, taking him down to the 24. Going to give him a fresh set of downs.
Well, not so fast, David Trimble. One of the side judges coming in. He's going to have some thoughts on the matter. But I think Coach Washington coming in from the sideline, he wants a little bit of maybe a little pause in the action so he can bend the ear of the white hat. He's standing there between the hash mark and the 30-yard line.
I was going to say, coming in from the sideline,
he absolutely is.
He's about in the huddle.
I think the official's saying, hey, we got this. Get back to the sideline. There's certainly protocols. Shout out to Mill Valley head boys basketball coach, Kurt Bangle, coming in on the A10 varsity text line. Appreciate his thoughts and observations as well. This break in the action brought to you by Lady Speed Stick. David Trimble, I understand that you've been a connoisseur of the Lady Speed Stick for a number of years now.
It's just built differently. Men and women's bodies are different, and the Lady Speed Stick, it has more.
It has more. Well, that's a little bit too much information. More information than we needed to hear. Officials still talking together. Coaching staff from Mill Valley. Now this seems to be taking a kind of maybe a little bit too long. We'll just put it like that.
And the chains seem to be moving back.
And my hat's off to head coach Deron Washington for Lee Summit North. He was thrown into a situation not of his makings, probably not even his choosing, quite frankly, when he took over for departed head coach Jason Rogers just about, 2.5, 3 weeks ago, but he's done a remarkable job in that short amount of time. But he is kind of having to learn on the fly. He was the defensive coordinator, where he's had to kind of hand off some of those duties to his coaching staff to focus more on the head coaching responsibilities. And, he's learning on the job. Maybe he could have used that timeout at the end of the first half. Maybe not. but he's doing a good job now in the second half, kind of getting his wings and not afraid to ask for clarification from the officials. 4:05, clock's running, 4:04 left in the third. Rolling back, looking back the other way. That's a great play and an even better stop. Shakes the ball loose for the third time tonight. Now, again, I feel so bad if it's not Mr. Robinson. I think that was Josiah Robinson once again. David Trimble. We'll look on the A10 Varsity instant replay.
And Mill Valley nearly averting disaster there again. Able to fall back on that ball that was punched out.
3rd and 5 for Mill Valley. 30-yard line of the Broncos. Big Sept package rolling left. He's got a receiver. He gets tripped up as he's letting it go. Doesn't get a good follow through, but the Broncos get a good break and another opportunity. Now, with 4th and 5, if you're Coach Appleby, legendary coach, is this a decision to even make? Are you going to keep your offense out there? I think you almost have to, David Trimble.
Well, I think that they're probably going to go. It's worked in the past. They're probably going to go with a hard count of some kind with 15-14 left on that.
Exactly
trying to
right.
pick it up the quote-unquote easy way.
4th down for Mill Valley. There's that hard count that you're talking about. That is Blake J. Looking to the right. And that's where Reggie Reese is. He's going to get the handoff. Reggie Reese bowls forward, and he turns, and he's going to get more. He said, I'm not done yet. He had the mashed potatoes, and he just put the gravy on. Reggie Reese inside the 15-yard line. 1st down, Mill Valley. Wasting no time. Now they're going to go hurry up.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It looks like they are hurrying up there to that line. 3:08 left to go. The clock has started again after moving the chains.
Heavy package left. Counter coming back. Reggie Reese now inside, I'd say around the 7.5-yard line. 2:55 left in the third quarter. Mill Valley up by 1, 14-13, driving deep into Bronco territory. David, this is the same place on the last drive that Mill Valley coughed it up and gave the Broncos a golden opportunity that they did not capitalize on.
And with coughing it up earlier, you know that Coach Appleby is there. Ball security is the only thing that he's telling them.
Heavy package again. Tight splits. But a what? That did not help. Getting into the backfield again. Now, if I watch it on the replay, I can usually make out the number of the jersey, and I believe that was number 4. Now, I'm going to say that was Caleb Green, the 6'1", 210-pound junior linebacker. The other number 4 on the roster is William Ray, and we've seen him from the wide receiver position on offense, 6'2", 215. So we're going to go with Caleb Green, making another play from his linebacker. He's kind of an edge rusher at times when they load the box, saying, hey, Mill Valley, we're going to stop the run. Go ahead and try and pass. Let's see whether or not Jay does just that. He's in trouble again. Is he going to let it go? He's running out of room, and he's throwing it away to live another day with 1:36 left in the third.
And he was absolutely being hounded on that one. The Bronco was trampling, and he was just barely able to get that one and, you know, for the most part, throw it away to the sideline.
You know, we talk about that defensive front for the Broncos, Marcel Reed and Jairee McDaniel. They've come so close so many times, but the athleticism of Blake J has just been enough to allow him an opportunity to throw that ball away. And with a big 4th down play, Coach Appleby lets him line up, and he's going to use one of his 3 second-half timeouts. And so will we here, coming to you live from Lee Summit North High School, live on A10Varsity.com. We'll be right back.
And with 1:34 left to go in the third quarter, Mill Valley is threatening down at the Bronco 12-yard line. This is a huge fourth down right here. This has not been the cleanest of drives for Mill Valley. They had the ball punched out once earlier.
For the 15th play in this drive. Some of the longest drives to scrimmage that we have seen in quite some time. Mill Valley's got them both. Big fourth down play. Fake the end around. Jay, he's got time. He's going to try to get the first down himself, and he does. Inside the 5-yard line. Blake Jay, 1st and 10. Well, or did he? He did not get there. Did not get to the 3. Looked like he had dove for it once he got around to the 5-yard line, but I do believe the Broncos pushed him out just shy. And the Broncos stopping the Jaguars again. Now, not a great starting field position for the Broncos, but I don't think that Mr. Thomas, QB1, is really going to mind. He just wants more opportunities with the rock.
And yeah, that was a huge play there. I believe that was Jackson Ross and Justin Lindsay who were able to keep him from getting that first down.
Only one rush before this handoff to Bryce Thompson so far in the second half for the Broncos. Thompson leading all rushers in the contest with 58 first half yards, and every one of those yards, I mean, like you said it really well, David Tremblay, kind of pinballed his way through oftentimes to that force that is the land sharks, the dorsal fins of Mill Valley's defense. From his own end zone, quick out pass. That's a smart play. Get the running back out there in the flat, get in the ball, and that's what you do. You get the ball to your playmakers. Is that Aaron McIntosh?
That was Aaron McIntosh, and I would be going to him absolutely because he is so quick and he can make things happen with his legs, buy them a little bit of breathing room away from their own goal line.
Coach Washington said that he was the guy that he looked to have kind of a breakout game tonight. So far, he's been impressive. Thomas going to take a step back, and there's those curl routes that they're going to try to establish. And that, those are those you have to have that. It's spreading out the defense, spreading out the secondary, And they're hoping then by doing that, Mill Valley's going to have to sacrifice one of their linebackers to draw back in coverage, possibly loosen up the run a little bit between the tackles, which really hasn't been there so far this evening for Lee Summit North.
And I'm not sure if that was Gray Kennedy, number 83, who made that catch and run. And this looks like this might not necessarily.
That's going to be the end of quarter number 3 here from Lee Summit North High School. We came out of 2 quarters of play with the Jaguars up by 1. Well, we're going to have the exact same outcome after 3. Jaguars 14, Broncos 13. We got 12 minutes regulation. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on 810varsity.com. "12 minutes to play in regulation between the Jaguars, who've made the trip, the 30-mile journey from western Shawnee, Kansas, over here to Lee Summit, Missouri. Beautiful Lee Summit, Missouri, at Lee Summit North High School, home of these Broncos. What a great facility that it is. Everybody treats us as just top-notch, giving us treats and everything else up here. I suppose I should share some of those. But.
And the team was not alone in making that journey. The far sideline is fairly well packed over there of the Mill Valley faithful making the trip as well.
Been handed the official piece of paper, the unofficial attendance here at Lee Summit North High School. Get this, friends. How about this? football in the heartland. 3,712. 3,712 unofficial attendance here at Lee Summit North High School for this border battle between a couple of the top teams on the respective sides of the state line. Mill Valley with 5 of the last 6 state championships. Yeah, thank you. 14-13 as we wait. I think we might have a TV timeout. As we see the parabolic mic man down there. There we go. I think we're back at it again. 1st and 10. Evan Thomas takes the snap. He's going to keep it himself. Going to go to the left side, which he hasn't done that often, and that's probably why. Coming from way back like a missile. I mean, Hayden Mosley, one of the leading tacklers last week for the Jaguars in their game, their 28-0 shutout win over Olathe East. He certainly was impressive. You can see why. He's got remarkable closing speed. And Devontae Lee, the 5'9", 161-pound junior, coming up to lend a hand as well. Brings up 2nd and 12 after that 2-yard loss. Thomas looks around. He's got a crosser coming around, and I think he might have seen number 15. That is Kendon Charbonneau. I mean, he was reaching back for a 2x4, getting ready to absolutely lay the wood to that crossing receiver.
And Justin Lindsay coming in at 170. He's given up a little bit of size on that one. He might have heard the footsteps.
He might have seen him, might have heard him, whatever the case is. Couldn't come up with a catch, and now it's going to bring up 3rd and long for the Broncos from their own 15-yard line. The bunch receiver, look on the top, and that's usually where it goes, and it goes exactly there on the comeback route, but it's not going to go far, but he's still not down yet. Finally, Jaguars able to corral him, bring him down around the 23-yard line, well short of a 1st down. Looks like they're going to have about 5 yards to move those chains. They need to get it out to the 27-yard line. See whether or not that Coach Washington sends out his punt crew.
And William Ray was doing everything that he could to get loose of that. What did we say a group of Jaguars is?
Group of Jaguars is a prowl.
A prowl of Jaguars.
Fantastic name, by the way.
He was trying to do his best to get away, not able to.
Kendon Charbonneau and Ryan Helm back deep for Mill Valley. It's going to be Helm taking it at the 43, and he stood up and he is pushed back, and he's going to feel that for a couple of days. My goodness, right into the grill. Walking gingerly to the sideline to kind of reset himself, but good stop on special teams by the Broncos.
I believe that was Elias Addy who made that stop.
Felt that up here in my jaw. Well, we got a lot of fun going here in the student section below us. I'm sure you can hear that in the background. Kids having fun on a Friday night, watching their classmates play a little bit of football, entertaining us with their talents. Here's Piva back into the game, but it's going to be number 1. There's Jay down the far sideline. 1st down and a lot more inside Bronco territory down to the 36-yard line. And it looks like an injured or a little bit of a hobbled Bronco, and he's just going to lay down, and that's. So, yeah. And, you see the coach, he did the right thing. He sees his player, he's hobbled a little bit. He just said, just go down, but it also is sort of a way. It's sort of that chute, if you will, that parachute that kind of stops the momentum and all the air going in the direction of the Jaguars.
And on that last play, Josiah Robinson was able to make the stop, get him out of bounds. And I'm not sure. Maybe we need to send a couple bunches of bananas to the Lee Summit North. I think bananas are good for cramps.
The bananas are good for cramps.
Pickle juice.
Pickle juice is exactly what I was going to say. Well done. Well, it gives us a time to tell you about some of the handiwork of Jim McClintock and some of the scores on the Kansas side. Few updates for you. Paola now up by 2 scores over Lewisburg, 28-14. St. James and St. Thomas Aquinas, they're in a tight one right now. St. Thomas Aquinas 28, St. James Academy 7. Topeka Seaman and Shawnee Mission East. Topeka Seaman, always a strong team over there. Might be just a little bit down this year, not to take anything away from the Lancers, who are up big, 35-14, third quarter score. Shawnee Mission East is going to go visit these Jaguars next week for Mill Valley's first home game. And going to Blue Springs High, going to be the Broncos. Broncos will love to go in there 3-0. They got to get by. The team in white, who now less than 10 minutes to play in regulation, still holding on to a 1-point lead with the ball down to the 27 of the Broncos.
And the Broncos defense has been stellar today, and I think they are up to this challenge.
Now this is going to be interesting. Jairee McDaniel just come running off the field. We hope that he's all right, but that sends a much smaller lineman in right up the middle, and guess what? Mill Valley's going to try to exploit that. See whether or not he's going to get some treatment. We hope that he's okay. Now coming into the game, that is number 56. And I believe that is Brian Smith, and he's essentially the 6th lineman. And what they're trying to do is they're just trying to, give these defensive frontmen just a little bit of a break. But young man, you come to the sideline, you need to get some water in you. That's number 33, Lavelle Thornton, 240 pounds, 6'2", sophomore. It's a big boy. 9:09, 9:08, left in regulation, 9:08 on the play clock. Jay gonna clap his hands. Here comes the snap, a handoff to Piva, cuts back to the left, and Max Piva doing Max Piva things for the second time tonight inside the 20-yard line. I mean, he is bringing half the defense with him. The young man just won't go down.
And he drug Josiah Robinson about an extra 5 yards after he made the initial contact there.
And a timeout on the field, and it's probably a good timeout for Coach Washington. He says, hey, half my defense is, tapping themselves on the head and looking for a sub out. And, and I'm sure that the coaches over on the far sideline are saying, hey, look over there. You were sending some of those Broncos out, all that extra work in the summer. Those early mornings, those late nights, whatever the case is. This is when that matters. This is when that comes to fruition, putting all that extra work in. Now, the coaches for Lisa Menor, David Trimble, I suspect, are saying many of the same things like, hey, this is exactly why we play football, for moments like this, to be in a position with 8:55 left, down by 1 point to one of the top teams across the state line.
And I'm not riding them too hard. The defense has done their job. They are down 1 point against Mill Valley. Again, like you just said, one of the better teams in the Midwest, the 2-state area at least. And I'm telling them, you need to give me just a little bit more. You need to give me 8 minutes and 55 seconds more.
First and 10, Mill Valley. Heavy package again. Zambo the blocker, but I think there's going to be movement before the snap. At least the back judge, he threw that out right as the ball was being snapped. It looks like is he counting heads? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Ooh, Sean,
yes.
Please put your shoes back on.
What are you smelling there, my man?
You trying to count to higher than 10.
Ah, yes. Well done. Gives like Jay an opportunity to have a word with Coach Appleby as he walks out around the 25-yard line on the far side. Still trying to sort out the mess. We cannot hear the official. And my eyes are so bad, I'll have to watch it on replay here. There's about a 20-second delay from the play happening here and when it's reaching your internet devices, whether you're on TV or your phones or just driving around listening to us, CarPlay or whatever it is. So what you're hearing right now actually already happened like 20-some seconds ago. So it gives us the benefit of some
living in the past.
Living in the past and the future all at the same time. We need some music for that. Maybe like some X-Files music? I don't know. But of course now that we're on YouTube, we can't really do that. 1st and 5. Mill Valley handing it off to Peave again. Can he push them, bring the pile forward? Talk about are you kidding me? Piva will just not go down. He weebles and he wobbles, but he does not fall down until the very end. It took the entire team, and again, another substitution. I think that's Mr. Smith coming back in and taking his helmet off before he's on the sideline. Oh my gosh, I can hear my coach right now. Put your helmet back on. But coach, I'm just a water boy.
His helmet fell off during the play. That's why he had to come out for an equipment malfunction.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There it is. Saw the cameraman down there around the 2-yard line. I thought, wait a second. Usually the kind of a trickaroo plays only on the offense. From the 2-yard line, Mill Valley trying to go up by 2 scores, and they're going to do it. Blake J punches it in from 2 yards out. Mill Valley 20, the Broncos 13. Extra point coming up. And another injured Bronco. I just hate to see that. And they're not that they're injured, but you can tell that they're just cramping up. And the training staff is doing a remarkably good job of getting down there and trying to stretch them out, and, trying to roll out that pain that the young man is going through. But hopefully, I just want to go down there and say, hey, you see those blue jugs over there with the Powerade? You need to consume that. I see these players coming to the sideline, but they're not really drinking anything, and that's so crucial in heat like this because, hey, guess what? It is still 82 degrees. It's 9:23 in the evening.
And we're going to need to make sure that the training staff is keeping up on their fluids, how much they've had to be out there. And now they've got a crew of them taking a knee and making sure that they are getting hydrated.
So 6-play drive, and every one of these from Mill Valley has been a rush. Ending in a Blake J 2-yard touchdown scamper. And they are, oh my gosh. For those of you that have played sports and been in that situation where you've got a cramp that is just, when you can't move, you don't want to, you seriously do not want to move because it hurts so bad. There's like this huge knot, whether it's in your hammy or somewhere else. Hard to work it out, but hopefully he gets the hydration, the electrolytes that he needs. Extra point coming up for Mill Valley. Looks like big fella's going to find his way to the cart, the side-by-side here down on the track. No, he's not. Doesn't need to. He's just going to go down to the training table, maybe get worked over a little bit there. There's Holden Appleby's the holder for the extra point attempt by Mason Gallender, the 5'9", 155-pound senior. Latest in a long line of fantastic Mill Valley kickers over the years. Kind of like how the Broncos, somehow they have like a playmaker factory here. At least some in North. Every year, 2 or 3 going to the next level and getting it done at that level as well. Extra point is up and it's good. Makes it 21 for Mill Valley, 13 for the Broncos. How are the Broncos going to answer with 7:53 left in regulation? Well, stick around and find out. We'll be right back on A10varsity.com.
And after that score, that brings the score to Mill Valley 21, Lee Summit North 13. 7:53 to go in the fourth quarter. Still plenty of time. This Broncos team is so explosive. They can put points on the board in a hurry. And we'll see if the special teams is on guard, looking for the, I guess we'll call it a pooch style kick in between an onside kick attempt and like a knuckleball.
Just tell me where Josiah Robinson is, because I'd love to see him get the hat trick. 3 touchdowns in one night, all on either a defensive turnover or special teams play. Here's Gallander. This time he's going to kick it between the 20 and 30-yard line. Picks it up off the turf. That could be trouble. Gets around the corner and finally, no, not yet. Right around the 40, around the 38-yard line. Couldn't quite get to the 40. That's where Broncos are going to have it 1st and 10.
I saw the shoe come off, and I thought that was the ball.
And I thought that was a flag. That's a dark hanky. No, it's a black shoe. Hanky shoe. Well, that's why I'm not a full-time official, among other reasons. Well, let's see what this offense is going to do again. They have impressed every time that they've touched the ball. You know, they've made a couple of mistakes this half, but when given the opportunity and enough time in the pockets, they have certainly done some damage. And I've said that cutback is just deadly. What? Oh, no. That is so unnecessary, my man. And I get it. Anybody that's played, you understand you're frustrated because it's a play that you thought you should have made 15 yards back up the field, but you just cost your team 15. You know, Mill Valley has to look at around 7.5 to play and up by 8 points on the road to one of the top teams in Missouri and feel pretty darn good about where they are and their chances to come out the victors. But the recipe to do that is to play clean ball. No crazy penalties. Because guess what? When this offense, when you give them just that a little extra spark of momentum and sizzle, then they're going to make you pay. I would suspect that they're going to take a shot here on 1st down. Put the ball in the hands of your playmakers. A couple that we haven't seen as much from, Aaron McIntosh and William Ray. But on that last series, David Trimble, they put Bryce Thompson out in the flats and made some good yardage on a couple of plays.
I was just getting ready to say I would like to see McIntosh just flying down and make one of those big plays.
Bryce Thompson checks in. He's only a junior, so he still has some time and some room to grow. He's a 5'8", 172-pounder. There's so many of these fantastic athletes. You think, well, hey, you know, if he was just 2 or 3 inches taller, you know, he'd be one of the top recruits. Well, friends, you've never seen this guy play before, never heard the name. You certainly will throughout this year and into next. And there it is. They're going to take that shot. Thomas, end zone, touchdown, Broncos. Capitalizing on the big penalty against Mill Valley. And they set it up for the last couple of plays. And they're going to go right at, and I think they are going to go for 2. I think you absolutely would. 1 doesn't do you a heck of a lot of good, even with 6.5 or almost 7 minutes to go. And Mr. Lindsay, the 6'3" junior, one of the top wideout recruits in the Midwest, takes the pitch and the catch from Thomas, who has the ball now. They're going for 2. He's elusive, he's slippery, and he's not going to get the ball into the hands of a receiver. But do I see a flag in the end zone? No, we do not. That's a white towel. Clean play and a failed 2-point conversion attempt by the Broncos.
And I love that call because you need the points, but there's still 6 minutes and 53 seconds left.
Well, how long did it take for the Broncos to score that touchdown? Let's see, a total of about 48 seconds-ish. 48, yeah, not too bad. I like the odds of them being able to score again should they need to, but I think you're exactly right.
It's still a 1 point, one score game. There's still a field goal, and there's 6 minutes and 53 seconds left. And the timeouts are, is that 2 apiece still? Yes, still 2 timeouts each team. That is a lifetime virtually.
6:53 left in regulation. Back deep to receive the kickoff, potentially for Mill Valley. Number 22, Ryan Helm. And on the far side, that is Devontae Lee. See whether or not they go right after him again. And that's going to go into the end zone, right in the middle of the O in the north end zone. The O, the first O, and Broncos. And oh my. Pretty much exactly what we expected out of this contest between a couple of stalwarts. And no easy points, no easy yards. But you just got to think, we've seen so often in this half where the defensive front four, Lee Summit North, has struggled because of whether it's the heats or the hydration, whatever the reasons are, and they have had to cycle in a number of players. Right now they have their original starting front four, and really, let's be real, it's sort of a 5-man front. They play a 4-3, but they got Masek, or I beg your pardon, that is Nas Palmer. Nas Palmer's kind of sneaking in there on the right side. But here's Blake J. and Reggie Reese. And Reese gets the handoff. And that's going to fire up the defense a little bit. And I think, is that number 4? We are going to go with Caleb Green again. What a night number 4's had on both sides of the ball, quite frankly. William Ray on offense, Caleb Green on defense. And he's fired up. He's showing a little bit of emotion, and that's going to fire up his teammates as well, and certainly does the crowd. Over 3,000 unofficially in attendance here tonight. Just a fantastic atmosphere. Friday night football in America's heartland. Here's Jay, takes a snap again, another handoff to Reese, and it is just tough sledding for number 25. And guess who's in there? That is Jaden Hines again. Jaden Hines, he's just that heat-seeking missile. Wherever the ball is, he's part of the play.
And first contact was Malachi Brown on there to get the body on him for them to be able to bring him down for a loss of, 2.5?
21-19, less than 6 to play, and a huge third down play for Mill Valley. 8-7 on the play clock. Hayden Jay with a man in motion. Is he going to get it off? He does. He's going to drop back. He's going to take advantage of the pressure, but he throws it into his lineman. Kind of a broken down play, and you can see the frustration, the body language on Blake Jay. He was a little bit disappointed maybe in himself and just kind of how that play kind of evolved. Now, of course, Mill Valley showing that they're going to go for it. Unless he sees something absolutely wild and bizarre on the other side of the ball. The coaches say, yeah, no hiding that sign on the far sideline, the kicking motion. And now he's got a little bit of air under that, but it's going to take a Bronco bounce and almost back to the 45-yard line of Mill Valley. An excellent field position for Lee Summit North. 21-19, 5:10 left to go. How about that, David Trimble? Just thought maybe we'd be in a position where we'd even go to overtime tonight. I could see that happening. Still a lot of time. Over-under on how quickly Lee Summit North scores on this possession.
What's their average been, 48 seconds?
Well, the last one was under a minute.
I'll take the over, I guess.
Let's take the over. Well, you know what? I think number 5 heard that. Bryce Thompson said, I don't think we even need that long.
Well, but then his coach is going to be like, okay, we want to score. but we do not want to give Mill Valley any time to respond.
100%. But I don't know that, their offense is so high-powered. If they don't get the 3 yards in a cloud of dust that maybe you would expect Mill Valley to get.
And they had my man McIntosh was down low.
At what point? I mean, you got to think that they're saving that, because he has a step or two pretty much every time that he's lined up there with that defender. That's going to back up the Broncos. What they didn't need to do, it's going to make it about 2nd and 11. They need to get it down to the 35-yard line of Mill Valley.
Now, were the fans just giving their own team the "you can't do that" chant?
I was trying to listen to that, and I couldn't exactly make out, but here we are. There's Thomas. He has a receiver open. Can he get out there? He doesn't need a receiver. He's going to use his legs. Out of bounds again, and that's a good job of the defender of holding up and not putting that little extra tap, because he's running out of bounds, but not before a lot of damage by number 1. A heady play, a heads-up play by this senior signal caller. One of a long line of great quarterback greats out of Lee Summit North. Puts his team inside. Right at the 30-yard line of Mill Valley. 4:29 left in regulation. 2 tight end look. Little handoff. Number 5, he's so fast. Bryce Thompson. By the time you say his name, he's gone, and he's scampered down for about 15 yards. Well, in Mill Valley's defense, a lot of hands on hips. You don't really see a lot of emotion. But just as I said a little while ago, when you get to, this is crunch time, folks. It's under 4 minutes to play in regulation. At some point, the leader's got to be a little bit more vocal. But for Lee Summit North, this is exactly what they want on their home field. Just an opportunity with under 5 to go to take the lead. And look, he is just so good. Can anyone stop him? Not before. He takes it inside the 10-yard line. Stephen Thomas, filthy, an absolute freak athlete. Have a feeling you could pretty much put him at any position on the field, and he's going to be a playmaker. Put the ball in the hands of your playmakers. There he goes into the end zone. Touchdown, Broncos! That is backup running back L.J. Brown, the 5'7", 165-pound senior. L.J. Brown. He says, hey, I'm going to do my best Bryce Thompson impression, and he does just that, and he puts his Broncos up by 4. Extra point coming up. Now, the question becomes mathematically, do you go for 2? I say you absolutely do. Not sure whether or not. And that's, again, one of those decisions for a, first month head coach, but it does look like he's going to keep his main offense out on the field.
Because going for 1, going for 2.
I mean, 1 doesn't get you anything.
Right. It does not really change it all that much. You're up by 4, so they cannot tie
field goal doesn't
with
matter.
A field goal.
There he is. There's Bryce Thompson. He tries to get to the outside and cut it back, but he can't do it for the second time now. Mill Valley has stopped that 2-point attempt. And a little bit of momentum potentially if the offense takes advantage of it from Mill Valley with 3.5 minutes left in regulation. Not sure what that was about. Thought I heard some words that maybe I shouldn't have. I don't know. They're having fun down here in the student section, no doubt. We welcome those of you that are joining us after watching the first half of the Kansas State versus Arizona game, where the Wildcats of Arizona are jumping out to a 17-3 lead. 17-3, Cats in a little bit of trouble. Jaguars in a little bit of trouble. But the Jaguars have 329 and an offense that can certainly get it done. But this resurgent defense out of Lee Summit North, the kind of the bend, don't break mentality here of the second half, halftime adjustments, bringing that extra man up, saying, hey, Mill Valley, go ahead and try to throw it over the top, but we got people that can match up with your receivers. Just kind of play center field a little bit. Great closing speed. A full kick away, and he is a fantastic kicker. Their primary kicker is out this week. On a touchback, Devontae Lee wanted a crack at it, but that is Silas Seabolt, who is in this week. He's doing a very good job in relief. All right, David Trimble, 3.5 to go. You're down by 4 points on the road, hostile territory. You got one of the best running backs in the state that really has been quiet, that has been slowed down, especially in the second half.
And I was kind of wondering maybe if he's not feeling 100%. And there's an interception.
Interception, taking it back to the house. Pick six. Now they're going to say that he stepped out of bounds at the 2.5. No touchdown. Talk about the change in momentum. For the third time tonight, well, we'll call it 2.5. There have been 2 touchdowns scored by Lee Summit North, not by their offense. And we almost had a third. We had the scoop and score in the second quarter, or excuse me, the first quarter. Had the run back and almost a pick six.
And I almost thought that was, in a roundabout way, scored by the offense because that was number 1. But for the defense, that's Bryce Davis making that interception and nearly putting a big nail in the coffin on Mill Valley.
Well, now, of course, there's still plenty of time. Should Mill Valley somehow be able to thwart this effort by the Broncos to punch it in for 6 more points. But they're up by 4, 25-21. Thomas looks back to the sideline. And these Broncos have absolutely punched Mill Valley right in the nose. Said, hey, you're at our house right now. And the big fella coming in for that extra blocker. And Thomas going to get around the corner, and guess what? Well, that's going to be a hold. That's coming back. And really, it's one of those holds that really wasn't even that necessary. Didn't have to probably make the hold. But it's one that's going to be called every time, even in this position. 1 second more than pie time here at Lee Summit North. 3:15, 25-21 in favor of the home team. They had a touchdown taken off the board due to a holding penalty that's going to back it up to the 13-yard line of Mill Valley. Gives Mill Valley a very, very slight reprieve, but it is first down. Thomas and Thompson. Thompson gets the ball. He spins off one Jaguar, slides his way down to the 11. Well, the side judge took off his hat. Oh, no, he did. I guess he just went. Oh, my. Looked like he took off his hat like he'd throw it maybe on a receiver going out of bounds. Not on a running play. That's, yeah, a little bit atypical.
Sean, have you gone around the bend?
I have gone around the bend, and I have come back a couple of times. And right now, we're going to see whether or not the Broncos can find their way around the corner and back into the end zone again. And there's a smart play. Are they going to say that he wasn't? Now, that is a smart play. Drag him out of bounds to preserve the clock. No, they're going to say, I swear that he said, okay, all right.
That clock is going to keep on running
Again,
to
indeed,
11
yeah.
to 10.
2:10 left. Now the Jaguars have 2 timeouts left. They're down by 4 with the Broncos of Lee Summit North threatening to score. They're at the 11 of Mill Valley. David Trimble, you're Joel Appleby on the far sideline. What are you telling your defense right now?
I'm telling him that I need everything you've got. We've got to get pressure on the quarterback, not allow him to roll out, and then let the receivers make something happen down the field. And I'm telling my defense, my secondary, that you have got to be on them.
Like white on rice?
I was going to say, we've got a white out here with the student section. It's got to be like white on rice and not let them get any big plays. They've got to go. They cannot get a first down. They've got to get into the end zone.
Final score for those of you that are following Kansas football scores tonight. St. Thomas Aquinas 41, St. James Academy 21. Big win for Aquinas. And in that Rockhurst-Olathe North game, Rockhurst up big 35-14. And right here, 25-21, 2:10 left. And now this is surprising. The throw into the end zone. Hey, makes it look easy. He's pointing up here saying, what are you talking about? I just don't miss, and he's exactly right.
And Justin Lindsay just found the seam right there and got that ball. The ball was perfectly thrown, perfectly caught. 6 points.
2 touchdowns in a row by Mr. Lindsay, and a 10-point spread.
And that last timeout was called by Mill Valley, so they're down to 1.
Down to 1. Gonna be a tough hill to climb for these Jaguars. Extra point forthcoming, trying to make it a 32-21 game. Kind of a low snap. Kick is up and no good. So, doing the quick, I mean, obviously, more than one score. Mill Valley's got to strike and strike fast to have any sort of a chance. Got to expect a full kickoff. It's going to go out for a touchback. Mill Valley's going to have it back deep in their own territory. We have seen Blake Jay get it done with his legs and a couple of times when he needed to through the air with his arm. Would expect to see a little bit more through the air out of Mr. Jay. Reggie Reese. Expected him to have maybe a night like he had last year against this Bronco team. That one was over at Mill Valley High where he ran for over 200. He's yet to eclipse the 100-yard mark tonight. But you know who has eclipsed 100 yards tonight? Mr. Thomas, the quarterback for Lee Summon North. He's even had a couple of those longer runs called back due to penalties. 5 procedure penalties, a couple of personal fouls against the Broncos in the first half. But they've cleaned it up relatively well in the second. And a touchback is what we have. 2:05 left in regulation. We're going to keep it right here. Right here for the remainder of it. You know, out of those over 3,000 in attendance here tonight, David Trimble, I don't think too many have left. In
I
fact,
don't think any have left.
I see a few people kind of making their way back into Broncos Stadium here at Lee Summon North High School on a10varsity.com. Couple of other updates. Olathe West 21, Blue Valley West 17, Shawnee Mission East 41, Topeka Seaman 21. That has now gone final. Shawnee Mission South 35, Pittsburgh 6, and Baser Linwood comes back and defeats Piper by a score 27-21. Here we go, partner. Here's Blake Jay out of the pistol. He's going to keep it himself. Well, he's going to try to run up between the tackles. Not exactly sure whether that was a busted play or they thought they had something, did Mill Valley, that they could exploit. Where is the sense of urgency? And this drives me crazy. Regardless of the team, you think, hey, you know, you got to cover a lot of ground in a little bit of time. I mean, look at, wow. That's a lot of time. And you know the Bronco, front 5, and they're blitzing. Here comes the house. And Jay falls down just shy of the 25. 127, 126. Time is just ticking away. Still looking to the sideline as if it's early in the first quarter.
And like they only need one score.
Right.
They need 2 scores.
You got to have these plays in your pocket. You're talking about these on the sideline before, and again, oh my. 105, 104. If you're a Mill Valley fan, I'm sure you're frustrated watching this right now. selfishly, I wanted to kind of score and maybe somehow come up with 2 scores so we could watch these 2 teams play a little bit more. A little razzle-dazzle run by Mr. J. He's spun around. That's going to stop the clock. They're going to move the chains. We're now down under 50 seconds of regulation. And there it is, kind of the chants of the student section. They're all in a good mood. It's homecoming night. There's Max Piva. And the guy is built, I don't know, you see him and you think, how does he stay upright? He's like an old redwood or a sequoia tree. Yeah, not sure what's going on with the play calling, but 24 seconds of regulation. There's Jay, another handoff to Piva. He goes right up the middle. And it looks like Mill Valley's kind of tapped out for this pass. Well, now, there's a flag. There's a flag.
And I think from what I could see, you'll have to check the replay, Sean, I think that there might have been too many men on the field for the Broncos. I think that he was, kind of, for lack of a better term, lollygagging to get off of the field.
Right. Now, certainly this would be the biggest win as a head coach for Coach Deron Washington. His 3rd game at the helm, taking over for former head coach Jason Rogers. He was handed the keys not even a month ago and said, hey, the team is yours now. Make it happen, and he certainly has. Talking with athletic director Mike McCurk earlier this morning about Coach Washington. He had nothing but good things to say about him. He's excited for the rest of this season, and who knows about the future, what direction they decide to go with next year as head coach. But certainly impressive tonight. Piva up the middle. They're just going to kind of let him run, and run he will down to the 20, and that should do it tonight. And they're going to call a timeout with 7 points. Now they call a timeout. 7.6 left. They're going to have a 1st and 10 of the Jaguars, but how about these Broncos? Lee Summit North is about to go 2-0 against one of the top teams in Kansas. Talk about bragging rights. See Rockhurst getting it done over Olathe North tonight, 35-14. Earlier this month, I believe that, what was it? I know you're a KU alum. Didn't they have a game with the Tigers here a few weeks ago?
They did. The first border war game in, I think it was.
Too long.
Yeah, I think it was 12 years. I think it was the first time.
Too long. Bring back the Big 8s.
And Missouri came out on top of that one.
Well, the road ahead for this Lee Summit North team, it doesn't get any easier. There's a couple of potential more winnable games than the others. They've got Blue Springs next week, and then they're going to welcome Blue Springs South here into Broncos Stadium, but then you got Bay Liberty North coming in. And they're going to go on the road to Lee Summit West and then finish the season against crosstown rival Lee Summit right here. And there's Jay. He's just going to let her rip and throw it up for someone. Unfortunately for the Jaguars, it finds, and with less than a second to play, and I think they will have to snap it one more time, but I don't think they're going to mind. The Broncos are going to go to 3-0. Mill Valley is going to go to 500, 1-1 on the season, and for the 2nd year in a row. During the regular season, Mill Valley is going to fall to Lee Summit North. And quite frankly, if you take away some of those odd plays in the first quarter, I mean, this Bronco team, despite, some unforced errors, and really there's a lot of plays that, kind of those boneheaded mistakes. It's early in the season, a young team and a new coach. You're going to have those, but this is one of those games that can certainly galvanize a team and propel them for the rest of the season. And I certainly expect nothing else. While the Jaguars will rebound, no question, for their matchup next week against Shawnee Mission East. The Lancers are going to go on into Mill Valley for their first home game for the Jaguars this year. Your final score from Lee Summit North High School, The Broncos, the home team, on a very fitting homecoming night, take the Jaguars to the woodshed again, 31-21 to go 2-0 on the perennial champs on the Kansas side. An impressive second half it was, David Trimble.
It absolutely was, and Lee Summit North showed that they're more than just the big plays. They made the good fundamental plays that they needed to down the stretch. Their defense, you said it earlier, bend, not break, but it looked like they, at one point in time, it looked like they were going to be held together by bubble gum and scotch tape, but they were able to buckle down, keep Mill Valley from scoring, and get their team the victory, 31-21.
As a reminder, Mill Valley is going to be at home next week against Shawnee Mission East. That might be a game that we're a part of. I'm not sure yet. We'll kind of figure that out in the coming days, while Lee Summit North is going to go on the road, take their show on the road. They're energetic, they're high scoring, they're firework-like offense. That is just an impressive thing to see, and they're going to be fun to watch the rest of this season. They're going to be at Blue Springs next Friday night for some more football in the Heartland. Well, for my good friend and partner, David Trimble, and Crystal Babb up here on the stats, and of course, Hayden Kilo with Hayden's Huddle at halftime. My name is Sean Brewer, and until next week, good night, everybody.